senior year in Longhui, the first thing you did was to give up your identity as the true heir of a billion-dollar wealthy family and return to your impoverished adoptive family. But once, the four sisters who swore they only recognized the fake heir panicked because that fake heir, Muma, who was cherished by his biological mother, was revealed right after you left to be the illegitimate child of your biological father and his first love, and this was kept hidden from the entire family for nearly 20 years. In your past life, after your biological parents brought you back to the wealthy family, you were kidnapped in a scheme orchestrated by the illegitimate son Muma and your biological father. However, the whole family rushed to comfort the frightened fake heir, leaving you, the true heir, forgotten at the scene, causing you to bleed out and die. Now, reborn into this life, you no longer hold any illusions about your blind and biased family. Right in front of your biological father, you beat up the illegitimate son Muma, then turned and returned to your adoptive family, who truly cared for you, with your photographic memory and foresight from over a decade. As the family teeters on the brink of collapse, you watch coldly as they fall from the clouds one by one. Folks, the bot comments have finally been turned off. Before, when you opened the comments section, it was flooded with tons of emojis. Now the comments section is so clean. Before, a long press would pop up 3 emojis. Now it's finally gone. Because of those bot comments, I couldn't see your text messages. Now, if you have any thoughts, post them in the comments, and I can see them. Finally, I wish you all eat lots and never gain weight, and may romance always be by your side. Now, get your snacks ready. The story begins. At this moment, you've just returned to the family villa. Before you even step inside, your eldest sister, Miulu, scolds you harshly. Muje, you finally know how to come home. Do you know what time it is? Then, your third sister, Muteng-kun, also speaks with her usual disgust. Muma came back ages ago, and you didn't even think to call and let us know, making the whole family wait for you to eat dinner. You sure have a nerve. You look up and see your eldest sister, Miulu, your second sister, Miyui, and your third sister, Muteng-kun, all standing sternly at the villa entrance, staring at you. Meanwhile, Muma, who is half a head taller than them, stands behind, his gaze calm and indifferent. You stand there, looking back at them coldly, and say, I didn't ask you to wait for me. My phone died a while ago, so I couldn't notify you. Do you have to be so aggressive right off the bat? As soon as you finish speaking, expressions of surprise appear almost simultaneously on the faces of the people opposite you. Then Muteng-kun's voice turns sharp. How dare you talk to us like that? You step closer to them and say with hostility, we're all mom and dad's children. Why can't I talk to you like this? Are you all that noble? Or do you think I'm beneath you? Look at Muma. A hint of surprise clearly shows on his face, but it quickly fades back to calm, as if none of this concerns him. But you know that this guy is a complete schemer. In your past life, you died at this schemer's hands. During the kidnapping, when your blood was almost drained, he pretended to faint, and the whole foolish family rushed to check on him, causing you to bleed out completely. The more you remember your past life, the more you can't hold back from wanting to beat him up. You, usually more reserved, no longer suppress your anger this time. You stride up the steps, stopping half a meter in front of Muma. Didn't you say we were eating? If you're not hungry, don't bring up dinner. If you don't like me, just say it outright from now on. Stop being so sarcastic all the time. Don't you find it disgusting? I've actually been wanting to throw up for a while. Flowers fall, Miyulu, willows never count down. You are being utterly unreasonable. We, as your older sisters, just say a few words to you, and this is how you act. Are you talking about us? Muteng-kun, on the other hand, was furious. She stepped forward, pointed at your nose, and cursed. Fine. I just don't like you, so what? Even if we share the same mother. I don't like you, and that's that. What can you do to me? Hearing this, you let the strap of your bag, slung over your right shoulder, slide down into your hand. Dear sisters, you are my own flesh and blood. What can I possibly do to you? But then again, there is still one thing I can do. For example, before the words even faded, you suddenly lifted your foot and kicked Muma hard right in the crotch. No scream, no crying. From Muma's throat came only a meaningless sound, and his body collapsed to the ground. He clutched his crotch with both hands, writhing in pain. The 3 Mu sisters, seeing this, were terrified. They screamed, Brother Mu, have you lost your mind? Why did you hit him? Muma, are you okay, Dad? Muma got beaten up. Come out quickly. But even Muteng-kun, who was closest to Muma, couldn't check on his injuries, because the area he was hurt was a bit awkward. As for you, who had delivered that kick, you suddenly felt half the weight lift off your chest. Then, swinging your bag, you brought it down hard on Muma's head again. Inside, besides the usual test papers and materials you had to bring home, the heaviest item was a Chinese-English dictionary. It was at least 8 centimeters thick. Even if it wasn't as heavy as a brick, it was close enough. As the bag slammed into the side of his face 2 or 3 times, Muma finally let out a scream. Snapping out of it, Miyulu quickly stepped forward to push you away. But you, unwilling to give in, kicked her right in the face, and it itched. I'll teach you to badmouth me at home. I'll teach you to try and get me killed. Suddenly, your own foot hurt so much you couldn't stand. Then, you were pushed to the ground by Miyu Yi and Miyu Lu. Muma had completely passed out. Soon, the front door was pushed open. Mi Yongquan and Li Huwen, along with a few servants, rushed out in a panic. Li Huwen let out a shriek first, then began to wail and cry, throwing herself over Muma's body. Mi Yongquan stared in shock at his unconscious son, beaten black and blue. His eyes quickly turned bloodshot. He felt like he was about to explode. "You bastard," you roared, then raised your hand to slap him. But you staggered back a step, dodging it. You pointed at Muma on the ground and said, "Dad, aren't you going to check on him?" Li Huwen, disregarding her dignity, knelt beside Muma, crying, "Muma, what's wrong with you? Don't scare mommy." Mi Yongquan's chest heaved with rage. After glancing at Li Huwen and Muma, he shouted at the three daughters standing to the side, at a loss for what to do. "Hurry up and call 120. Miyu and Miyu both rushed toward the Via's front door at almost the same time. Then Mi Yongquan turned his head, glared at you, and roared, "Are you trying to kill your brother? Tell me, why did you hit him?" Li Huwen also stopped crying, gasping as she looked at you. You looked at your biological mother, Li Huwen. The expression and look in her eyes chilled you to the bone. She wasn't looking at a long-lost son. It was like looking at a stranger, even with a hint of disgust and fear, as if she had never known you at all. Seeing that look, you felt even less regret for hitting Muma. Why did I hit him? Of course he deserved a beating. You took 2 steps back and continued, calling him a bastard. How dare he give me, the legitimate son, a cold shoulder? Who does he think he is? I am the real member of the Mu family. Whether it's background or grades, he's no match for me. Why should I have to put up with his attitude? Your false accusations came naturally to you. Your words were fierce, with no sign of backing down. In front of so many people at school, you said he was the heir of the Mu family. Isn't that just slapping the Mu family in the face? I never talked about our family's affairs at school, nor did I reveal that I'm the biological son of the Mu family. If I hadn't been held up with something in class, and also afraid that getting into a fight would expose my true identity, I would have beaten him up at school long ago. Why wait until now? If everyone at school found out that he's the Mu family heir, what would I do then? You always tell me to give in to him, and I followed your orders for years. I fell and hurt my legs so badly I could barely walk, and he dared to give me attitude. Suddenly, I just didn't want to hold back anymore. As the words fell, Shepherd Dog roared angrily, "Shut up, you shut up." His voice was so loud. That's Little, standing nearby, trembled in fear. "Everyone, go back inside." Shepherd Dog barked at the servants standing at the door. Then he said to you, viciously, "You'd better pray your brother is okay. Otherwise, get out of the Mu family. Go back to your foster parents' home. Live a low-class life." "Dad, I'm the real Mu family member. He's just a bastard. How could he be more important than me?" You provocatively poked at his sore spot on purpose. After Shepherd Dog heard this, he said bitterly, "Back then, since I brought him home and raised him, and he's been with your mother for 18 years. In my eyes, there's no difference between a bastard and a biological son. You tell me yourself, since you came to the Mu family, in terms of material conditions, haven't I treated you both fairly? Well, in words, filial piety, yes, it's all the same. You both go to #1 high school. Neither of you gets a personal driver, but I know that before I came back, he had a full-time driver. His weekly allowance was at least 30,000, and he had my mom's supplementary card to spend freely. He told me all this himself. You probably didn't know that, did you?" Shepherd Dog paused. "That doesn't mean I've been unfair to you." You raised your hand to stop him from continuing. You said coldly, "I am the bloodline of the Mu family, so treating him and me equally is the greatest injustice to me. Coming back to the Mu family, I'm not just facing you alone. I'm facing a whole family, including my mother and my several sisters. Fairness from just you alone means nothing, even if I can understand that over the years, as a substitute, he's been with you, filling the emotional void when I wasn't here. That doesn't mean I'm willing to accept him still living in this house now. Today, I want to make him understand that he and I are completely unequal in status and position. I am the son of the Mu family. He's nothing but a bastard, not even an illegitimate child." Your provocative words kept poking at Shepherd Dog's sore spot. Trojan horse. This young man who knew he was an illegitimate child was also just a teenager, but raised by Shepherd Dog and Li Huiwan. He had developed a deep and calculating mind. Facing Li Huiwan, he was ingratiating and obedient. A good son. Facing Shepherd Dog, he showed self-control and the potential of a successor. Facing his sisters, he was also a lively, playful younger brother who liked to act cute. Do you still remember when the kidnapper used your right hand, a video of a severed thumb, threatening Muge and Li Huiwan? To save face, Muge sent 200 million in ransom, but the price was raised on the spot, so you got another stab in the leg, but it cut an artery, causing unstoppable bleeding. Yet Mujia only begged the kidnappers not to hurt Muma, ignoring you completely. After that, you floated in midair, watching Muma, who was terrified, and fell into a coma, being taken to the hospital's intensive care unit, while your body was sent to the morgue, until the hospital urged cremation. Only then did the Mu family remember you existed. Your soul drifted around the Mu family home in Jiangcheng for over a year. Before slowly realizing everything was Muma's plan, you saw it with your own eyes. He called the kidnapper who had fled for a year to pay the final installment. To truly secure the Mu family inheritance, he schemed to kill you, his only rival. You followed Muma for over a decade, until that afternoon when you fell at school and gained memories of your past life, or rather, were reborn. You clearly remember that after Muma took over the Mu family, his biological mother, Fushubao, was brought to the Mu home, while Li Huiwen and your four sisters suffered terrible fates. Zadi Muyangquan, through a deal of interests, gained forgiveness from Li Huiwen's family. After Li Huiwen died, he immediately married Fushubao. Muma became the rightful heir of the Mu family in Jiangcheng. Having lived 2 lives, you were numb to the coldness of the women in your family. Just then, Muyulu and Muyue walked out of the room, trying to help the unconscious Muma. Mutonkin saw this and rushed over to assist. Muyulu said coldly to you, Brother Mu, you've disappointed us too much. Mutonkin added sharply, you're just a selfish ingrate. Good thing I never really saw you as family. Otherwise, I'd be sick to death. Li Huiwen, sobbing uncontrollably. The 3 daughters couldn't lift Muma, turned to you and said, Brother Mu, you're just too heartless. Hearing this, you felt both ridiculous and furious. If not for the rebirth or awakened memories, you'd probably keep enduring, until Muma schemed to kill you. Scanning the room, you saw the coldness in Muyangquan and the others, their disdain and disgust. You asked coldly, do you all think Muma is my brother? Do you really think he's a Mu family member? I'm your biological son, right? We had a paternity test for years ago. But he was adopted, wasn't he? You call him son and brother all the time. What about me? For years, I've never heard anyone call me little brother, nor have I heard anyone call me son. This barrage of questions shocked everyone. They had never seen you speak so loudly, nor had they seen you point at Muma and question them, or seen you violently beat Muma, until the wailing of an ambulance came from outside. Li Huiwen quickly told a servant to open the door. Red and blue lights flashed. 2 people in white coats ran in with a stretcher. They put Muma on the stretcher and rushed back to the ambulance. Li Huiwen immediately ran after them, without even glancing at you. Mutonkin followed closely, shouting, Mom, I'm coming too. Muyulu quickly grabbed Li Huiwen's arm. Mom, don't go. My 3rd sister and I will go. Yuye, help Mom back inside to rest. Li Huiwen covered her mouth, sobbing silently. As she stepped up the stairs, she shot you a fierce glare. After the ambulance left with its wailing siren, soon, only the 4 of you remained at the door. You saw the sinister look in Muyangquan's eyes, and his somewhat twisted expression. You suddenly smiled. I'm your biological son, right? Walua Muyangquan. Li Huiwen and Muyue said nothing, just stared at you with hatred. You pointed toward the door and continued asking, you, say it yourself. Is he your biological son? Muyangquan's face was iron hard. His eyelids twitched involuntarily a few times. After hearing this, Li Huiwen asked, does it really matter if he's biological? Muma has been with us for 18 years. You don't cherish this bond, but we all value it deeply. You saw Muyangquan's eyes flicker with a trace of panic. You kept staring at him and asked, Dad, what do you think? Does it matter if he's biological? Muyangquan's face remained dark. He glared at you fiercely. Today, your behavior completely lacked the respect and awe you used to show him. This made him very uncomfortable. Your repeated mention of biological embarrassed him even more. Now, no matter what, he had to suppress the son, who seemed to know something. Muyangquan said coldly, bringing you back then was really a mistake. Ever since you came, you've been causing trouble in this house every few days. You could be so harsh on your brother. The Mu family can no longer keep you. Leave. Go back to your foster parents. When I brought you back, your household registration wasn't transferred. You just bear the surname Mu. Your body doesn't even flow with Mu blood. You're not a Mu family member. You don't deserve it. Li Huiwen wanted to speak, but Mu Yue gently tugged her arm, so she shut her mouth. Your eyes stayed fixed on Muyangquan's face, carefully observing his expression. From all the information you could gather, you believed Muyangquan wasn't joking. He really wanted you out of the Mu family. As for the purpose, it was probably to make Muma the true heir of the Mu family. This saved a lot of trouble. So you said decisively, Mr. Mu, are you sure you want to cut ties with me? From now on, I'm no longer a member of the Mu family, right? Muyangquan remained silent, his face ashen. Seeing this, you grinned. At least I gave that bastard Muma a beating. I've been holding it in for years. It's finally some relief. With that, you bent down, picked up your school bag, and walked out of the yard. I'm no longer a member of the Mu family. Remember, Mr. Mu, Ms. Li, and Miss Mu II. From now on, I'm not part of your family. The 3 on the porch watched you walk down the steps, cross the yard, and pull open the gate. Li Huiwen finally couldn't hold it in. She cried out, Nuge, please don't go, okay? Mom is begging you. You turned around to look at Li Huiwen. Her makeup was smeared with tears and snot. Your heart ached. Yet, you still said coldly to Muyangquan, once I step out this door, I hope we never cross paths again. I'll never come looking for you. If I do, may I die a miserable death. Please never come looking for me either, since finding me was a mistake. Then pretend you never found me, or that I died 18 years ago. Mr. Mu, just act like you never had me. Then you turned to Li Huiwen and said, Ms. Li, here's a piece of advice. The one I hid is your adopted son. But he's only your adopted son. You emphasized your tone, then let go and left. You casually tossed the keys by the roadside. Leaving your biological parents isn't necessarily good, but it's not necessarily bad either. What biological mother would value a foster child more than her own son? Out of respect for Li Huiwen being your birth mother, you'd already given her a hint. Whether she understands or not is none of your concern. From now on, the sea is wide for fish to leap, and the sky is high for birds to fly. On a summer night, the air was thick with a muggy, humid feel, which diluted the salty smell in the sea breeze. You walked alone on the street with your school bag. A strange excitement made your heart race. All your wealth, including years of New Year's money, -1 envelopes, and birthday gifts, was all in your bank card, plus over 10,000 yuan in the green bubble app, totaling nearly 200,000 yuan. For you, this is already a huge sum of money. There's no way they'd be stupid enough to return it. But compared to Muma, they're definitely dirt poor. Just the pocket money his oldest and second sisters give him is tens of thousands every month. That illegitimate son might even have a supplementary card, but he's not short on money either. In the 10+ years after his death, he stayed by Muma's side, learning a lot of financial information, even some insider news from the southern wealthy families. Younger generation. This knowledge is very valuable. It won't go to waste. After getting into the taxi, you head straight to the home of your foster parents, where you lived for 14 years. Baiyu District is a small, old neighborhood. Most people here have lived for over 10 or 20 years, so they're old neighbors. The community ties are strong, but the downside is, most buildings here don't have elevators. Your foster father, Xinzheng, and foster mother, Guro, run a small snack shop at the district entrance. The shop closed early by now, but they're probably still awake. You turn left and right, walk to the entrance of Building 2, Unit 1, climb to the 3rd floor, stand in front of room 302, raise your hand, and knock. The door opens quickly, and a surprised voice cries out, Brother, why are you here? Mom, Dad, my brother's back. You stop the girl who's about to pounce on you. Yao Yao, you've grown so tall in just a few months. Mom, Dad, I'm back. This girl named Qin Yao is your foster parents' biological daughter. Back then, after they adopted you from the orphanage, it took them 3 years to have her. The girl is now over 1.6 meters tall, much taller than the last time you saw her. She's already a beautiful young lady. Brother, I'm 16 now, and I'm 1.65 meters tall. I can still grow more. Qin Yao grabs your hand and pulls you inside. A middle-aged couple comes out from the room to greet you. Xinzheng and Guru's faces are full of joy. Mujie, you're back. Come in and sit down. You smile and nod. Mom, Dad. Guru rubs her hands together and warmly invites you. Come on. Come in, have you eaten? If not, I'll make you a bowl of noodles. After saying that, she glances at him awkwardly and says, I'll make you a bowl of noodles. Hearing this, you immediately say, Mom, you are my mom. I haven't had dinner yet. Guru turns and heads to the kitchen. In a place no one notices, she raises her hand and wipes away tears. Soon, Xinzheng walks over, glances at you, then nods with a satisfied smile. You look at the man before you and the girl beside you, and your mood inexplicably calms down a lot. This is the place where you grew up, the home you lived in for over 10 years. You used to be called Xinjie, but 4 years ago, you changed your name to Mujie, and moved to the Mu family's villa. But that place only gave you life and a surname. This place is the home that gave you a complete family feeling. You push aside your thoughts, put down your backpack, and take a look around the room. The furnishings haven't changed much from 4 years ago. The same as the year you left. Why did you suddenly come over? Did something happen at the Mu family? Xinzheng hands you a cup of tea and sets it in front of you. You're silent for a moment, not knowing how to talk about this. Seeing this, Xinzheng pats your shoulder, looks you in the eye, and says, It's okay. Back when you were taken back, I told you, we may not be as rich as the Mu family, but the door of this home is always open to you. No matter when you come back, this will always be your home. You feel a warm current flow through your heart, smile, and say, Dad, I'm fine. I'm a senior in high school now, and the college entrance exam is coming up soon. I heard that my household registration is still here. Xinzheng nods. That's right. It's still at home. Back then, I suggested just transferring your household registration over, but your father didn't agree. He said to wait a few years. After saying that, he looked at you with confusion. Is it that they don't treat you well? You shook your head. Calmly, you said it's nothing. It's all in the past. From now on, I won't have anything to do with them anymore. Xinzheng's expression instantly changed. What exactly happened? Did that adopted kid bully you back then? After the Mu family took you back that year, Xinzheng had specifically looked into it. The Mu family also had a son named Mujie, the same age as you, and they had 4 older sisters in the house. The way that family acted so arrogantly back then, and the look on their faces when they saw the situation here, that smug expression, it was really infuriating. You shook your head and said, Let's not bring up the past. I'm back, and I'm still your and mom's son. I'm Yao Yao's big brother. That identity will never change, no matter what. Xinzheng's expression softened a bit. Since the kid doesn't want to dwell on it, then let it be. If the kid had any intention of pursuing it, he wouldn't have been polite to the Mu family. Did they really think Xinjiang was just some small restaurant owner? He raised his son like a treasure for 14 years. Not only did you take him away, but you didn't even treat him well. Why should he? If it weren't for that old grudge, he would have crushed this tiny Mu family. A branch family means nothing. After he calmed down, a smile finally returned to his face, but at that moment, you were a bit nervous. In the past 4 years, you had come here far too few times. If it weren't for Shepherd Dog, specifically telling you not to have contact with the Chin family, you would have definitely kept in touch often. Over the past 4 years, you cared too much about your biological parents' and sister's feelings. Now looking back, you really were a big fool. Xinjiang suddenly slapped your shoulder firmly. He laughed and said, "You little rascal, why are you being so polite with me? I told you, this will always be your home. As long as there's someone in this house, you can come anytime. Your room has been kept just as it was. After you left, your mom cried for a long time. That room hasn't been touched. I don't care how things are going for you in the Mu family. If you don't want to go back, just stay here." Just then, Guro came out of the kitchen carrying a bowl of pan-fried noodles. She set it on the coffee table. "Mujay, eat the noodles quickly. It's so late, and you haven't eaten yet. I don't know what's wrong with you." You took the chopsticks and said, "Thanks, Mom. These past few years, what I've missed most is your cooking." Xinjiang and Guro smiled as they helped tidy up your bedroom. The next morning, you didn't get up until almost 7. After getting ready, you went back to your room, grabbed your school bag, and walked into the living room. You picked up the soy milk and finished it in a few gulps. You tore off a plastic bag, stuffed 2 fried dough sticks inside. No time left. Take them to school to eat. Then the two of you walked out of the house together, but you didn't expect that just as you stepped out of the building, you heard a voice from not far away. "I told you he must have come here." You turned your head to look. You saw the Porsche that third sister was driving. Both the front and back windows were rolled down. Sitting in the driver's seat was Mu Tang-kun, with an expression that said, "I knew it." In the back seat sat Li Huiwen. At that moment, her eyes were still red and teary. Xinjiang quietly said to Qin Yao, "Yao Yao, you go on ahead. I'll go to school by myself later." Qin Yao didn't say a word. She lowered her head and quickly walked away. You walked forward. You stopped about 2 meters in front of the car. You asked, "Didn't we agree not to bother each other?" Mu Tang-kun immediately exploded after hearing that. "Are you asking for trouble?" Before Mu Jie could finish speaking, Li Huiwen had already pushed open the car door and stepped out. She came forward, trying to grab your hand, but you stepped back a few paces. You said coldly, "If you have something to say, say it. If not, I need to go to school. It's Mom who let you down. Can you come home with Mom, please?" Li Huiwen came from a big family. She had also received a higher education. She knows it's her fault for letting you down. A child getting lost as a kid is always the adult's fault. What fault does a baby have? Mom knows we neglected your feelings. Mom promises to treat you well from now on. Okay. You smirked and asked Muma mockingly. "You okay?" Li Huiwen continued with a tearful voice, "Muma, it's all over now. Brother Mu, come back home with Mom. Your dad was just confused with anger yesterday. Mom promises to be good to you." You shook your head and said, "Are you done? If you're done, I'm going to class." With that, you turned and started walking away. Mu Tanchen saw this. She forcefully pushed open the car door and stepped out. Pointing at your nose, she shouted, "Brother Mu, don't go too far. Muma was beaten like that by you, yet he's being magnanimous. He doesn't even want an apology from you. Just come back with us nicely. You're still the young master of the Mu family." Seeing this, you stopped, smiled, and said, "No apology needed. Is that your condition?" Li Huiwen quickly nodded upon hearing this. "No apology needed. It's Mom who's sorry to you. It's not your fault." Mu Tanchen snorted. You shook your head and said, "Then what about my condition? Are you willing to make Muma move out?" At those words, Li Huiwen felt a pang of disgust. She opened her mouth but said nothing. Mu Tanchen, however, turned pale. "Don't go too far. I advise you to quit while you're ahead. We've come to pick you up. What more do you want? You beat Muma like that. Shouldn't you apologize to him?" Li Huiwen also stepped forward with a bitter expression. "Won't you come home with Mom?" You let out a sigh and said, "I'm not going back. I made it very clear yesterday. If I go back, I'll die a miserable death. Besides, even if I weren't afraid to die, you should at least make him get out of the Mu family. But it's obvious you don't want him to leave. You choose to side with Muma. That's your freedom. Likewise, I made my choice last night, since I didn't back down and agreed to leave the Mu family. From now on, don't come bothering my life anymore." "Okay," Mu Tanchen cursed angrily. "Who do you think you are? Who are you putting on this act for? Mu Mao is my brother. I won't let him leave. As for you, this is just your last chance. This crappy place for lowlifes. I wouldn't even want to step foot in it. Do you really think you're some treasure?" Li Huiwen's voice trembled as she said, "Brother Mu, do you really have to make Muma leave? You're tearing Mom's heart out." You looked down at your watch, then forced a smile and said, "Mrs. Mu, I understand how you feel. Muma is the replacement for the 14 years I was gone, plus the 4 years since I came back. That's 18 years total. 18 years of living together, watching him grow up from a child. You have a deep bond, but you shouldn't have made me and him live under the same roof. And you can't even treat us fairly. You're all worried he can't handle it. But among you, has anyone ever cared if I could handle it? Has anyone ever cared how I feel, watching my own parents and family being taken away by someone else? You favor an outsider, and you know very well how you treat your own biological son and brother. Why should I endure such humiliation in the Mu family? Wasn't I comfortable enough living with my foster father? With that, you turned and walked away. I still have school. I won't waste time arguing with you. Like I said last night, I'm no longer part of the Mu family. I won't come looking for you. Please don't come bothering me either. There's no connection between us anymore. This time, Li Huiwen really couldn't hold back her tears. Usually, when she saw you at the Mu house, she also thought you were crude and ill-mannered, but he never thought that it was supposed to be his responsibility all along. He also believed that your agreement to cut ties was just for show. After all, the Mu family's financial standing was still quite decent. He thought you would be as obedient as before. No matter what request was made, you would give it your all, just to earn his approval. But now, something was off. You walked away quickly. In just a few minutes, you had already disappeared from their sight. Li Huiwen watched your back, utterly confused. She just couldn't bear to let Moonma leave her side. Couldn't you understand that kind of feeling? Her husband, Mi Yangquan, had told her that you needed strict discipline, all for the sake of proper upbringing, so that you would one day inherit the Mu family's estate and business. So over these past few years, they had been very strict with you, rarely even showing a smile. But he forgot that everyone's attitude and demands toward Muma were on a completely different standard compared to you. Even though she was heartbroken now, she still didn't want to let Muma leave. He was the son she had raised, from a tiny baby until now. Sure, he was a bit clingy, but wasn't that just a sign of a deep mother-son bond? What was wrong with that? Why couldn't Muje, her own biological son, just accept it? Mu Tanchun stepped forward to support Li Huiwen, frowning as he urged, "Mom, please stop crying. Let's go back. Next month is Muma's 18th birthday. We haven't even prepared the birthday party or the coming-of-age ceremony yet." Li Huiwen said nothing and got into the car. The two of them then left. After lunch, you returned to the classroom, leaning over your desk to read. Just before 1 o'clock, the sound of high heels clicking brought a figure to stand before you. You looked up from behind a tall stack of books to see Miyuye standing there with a calm expression. "Come out, I have something to tell you." You couldn't read anything from her face, only felt a bit of irritation inside. "Didn't you say I'm no longer a part of the Mu family? Didn't you say not to bother me anymore?" But glancing around the classroom at classmates who were either reading or sleeping, you didn't want to lose your temper in class, so you just nodded and followed Miyuye down the teaching building. "The things you left at home, I kept them in the car. Do you want them?" When you reached a big tree off to the side, Miyuye stopped and turned to face you. You stopped as well, puzzled. "You came all the way here just for that, Mujia?" Among the 4 older sisters, Miyuye rarely spoke to you, but she never said harsh things either. The others usually didn't treat you well. Miyuye said nothing, just looked at you. You shook your head. "I'm not part of the Mu family anymore, so I don't need anything from the Mu family. Just throw it away. The stuff is in the car. If you want it, come with me to get it later. I came to see you about something else." "What did you mean by that last sentence yesterday? You said Mumao is Mom's adopted son. What exactly did that mean?" You shook your head again. "It really doesn't mean anything special. I was just telling you that he's an adopted son. If there's nothing else, I'm going back. Don't come looking for me anymore." With that, you turned and walked away. Miyuye stood there, watching you gradually disappear from sight, a doubt rising in her heart. Did he really not mean anything else? But why did he have to repeat that particular point back then? Not wanting the stuff, was he worried about something? Or did he truly want to cut all ties with the Mu family? And why was there a hint of mockery in his eyes? With that, Miyuye walked toward the school gate, took out a suitcase and left it at the guardhouse, told the guard to give it to Muje from class 12, grade 3, and then left, still puzzled. When you were leaving school after class, you were indeed stopped by the guard at the gate. Looking at the 2 suitcases the guard was holding, you felt a headache coming on. After thinking it over, I decided to just leave it at the Mu family's doorstep. That way, it would clearly show my attitude and determination. So I took out my phone, called the admin, then grabbed my suitcase and took a taxi to the Mu family villa. I dropped the suitcase at the door and left. When I got home, I found my adoptive father and mother were actually both home, and the dining table was covered with a lavish dinner. It was obvious the whole family hadn't started eating yet. They were still waiting for me. Seeing me push the door open, the admin came over with a big smile. "You got back too late yesterday, so today we're making it up with a welcome dinner. At 2 p.m., since no one came to the shop, I just closed up. Come on, try this, your mom made it especially for you." I washed my hands and sat down at the table. Chin-jung pulled out a bottle of baijiu from under his feet and set it on the table. "Welcome home, brother Mu. Let's have a small drink today." Guro smiled and shot him a glare, but kept piling food into my bowl. The admin raised his glass and said earnestly, "I won't say much else. No matter what brother Mu did in the past, you've always been our child. Welcome home. I hope you can let go of the past and start over." Murao also raised her glass, her eyes red as she said, "Brother Mu, this is your home. It always will be." My nose stung too. I nodded heavily. then tilted my head back and down the whole small glass of baijiu in one go. On Sunday, I put on new clothes and ran to the lottery shop outside the neighborhood. I looked clean and spirited. Standing at the door, I stared at the wall covered in those obsessive paper charts. If I remembered correctly, the double color ball drawing at the end of May would have a consecutive number sequence never seen before in history. That kind of straight sequence couldn't be generated by any machine, and no one could ever guess it, but someone did win big in that drawing. To avoid suspicion, I pulled out $10 and bought 5 tickets, asking the boss to arrange the numbers from 7 to 13 as I requested. Even though the boss gave me a strange look, he didn't say much. He quickly printed the tickets and handed them to me, then went back to his number-crunching obsession. I tucked the tickets away and headed home. The drawing would be on Monday, but I knew I definitely wouldn't win, because this time, the one I actually needed to buy was the drawing next Saturday night. I knew very well that this kind of thing couldn't be explained to anyone, so I didn't tell anyone, not even my parents. I just treated it as a test after being reborn. If I really did win, then I'd tell them. Sunday night, Miyulu came home to shower and sleep, but just after she changed into her nightgown, she heard a knock. She threw on a jacket and went to see. There was Miyuyi, still in her pajamas, standing at the door. She said softly, "Big sis, I need to talk to you about something." Miyulu was startled and stepped aside, then followed Miyuyi to sit on the couch. She asked, "It's so late, why aren't you asleep? What's up?" Miyuyi hesitated for a long time before speaking. "I saw Mujie yesterday at noon. I went to bring him the stuff from his room, and I asked him a question on the side. That night when Mujie left, he said something that's been bothering me for days." Miyulu frowned slightly. Her second sister hadn't said anything all evening, but she had a sensitive feeling that what she was about to say was no small matter, so Miyulu encouraged her. "What did he say that night?" "I didn't notice it at the time," Miyuyi replied. "It was what he said to Mom as he was leaving. I suspect he meant something else by it. He said he wanted to give Mom a kind suggestion, that Mumayo is Mom's adopted son, but that's all. He is to Mom." Miyulu frowned, thinking it over, her expression shifting uncertainly. "Do you think, over these past few years, we've been really unfair to Brother Mu? No matter what he did, we were never satisfied. He even gave up his status as the heir of the Mu family. Now, when he looks back, all he remembers is how we scolded him back then. Even though he wasn't as harsh as our third sister, Mutan-chun, he still didn't have anything nice to say. Every time he thinks of that night, when you turned around and walked away with a backpack on your back, his heart aches. Miyuye hasn't even had the heart to work these past 2 days. He's been thinking about this the whole time. What did you really mean by those words you said when you left that day? He knows that everyone in the family, except for our fourth sister who's not home, trusts Muma." Almost irrationally, thinking this, he couldn't help but wonder, is an 18-year bond of living together really supposed to outweigh reason? Miyulu heard this clearly, and couldn't help but ask curiously, "Yuye, tell me, what did Muji mean by those words that night?" Miyuye shook his head slightly. "When I went to ask him the next afternoon, he refused to tell me anything. He just said it didn't mean anything else. He only told Mom that Mumao is her adopted son, but I still feel something's off. Everyone knows Mumao is her adopted son. There was no need to say it deliberately, so why did he specifically say that to Mom? And he even emphasized the word only, in the phrase only your adopted son. I think he was implying something, but I can't figure it out." Miyuye didn't say he dared not keep guessing. Based on his own interpretation, there were two possible meanings. One is that Mumai is Mom's adopted son, and not a member of the Mu family at all. The second is that Mumai is only Mom's adopted son, but not necessarily Dad's adopted son. The third is that Mumai is not their biological child, but he is a child from the Mu family in the capital. That would also make sense. The first meaning is what everyone already knows. Mumai is not a Mu family member. The second is worth pondering deeply. If Mumai is not Dad's adopted son, then there's only one possibility. Mumai is also Dad's biological child. Dad had someone else outside, and it's been nearly 20 years. As for the third, he has no way to investigate at all. Dad came to Jiangcheng to set up his own company. In fact, it was still to help the Mu family in the capital get a foothold in Jiang province. To have achieved this, Dad's ability is beyond doubt. But these are all just his guesses. He can't confirm these thoughts, and he doesn't dare say them out loud. He needs someone to help him confirm this idea, to validate it. And Miyulu, sitting beside him, after hearing all this, fell into deep thought. "So you came to me just to tell me this," she said, thinking as she spoke. "These words can be interpreted in two ways. One is that Mu-ma is not a Mu family member. He was adopted. I remember Dad brought Mu-ma home. Back then, Mom was very sad because she lost Brother Mu. She was basically confused all day long. The other meaning is that Mu-ma is only Mom's adopted son, but not necessarily Dad's adopted son. Do you think my analysis is right?" Miyulu stared into Miyuye's eyes as she spoke. Miyuye lowered his head. The fact that Brother Mu could decide to leave so quickly means he has completely given up on our Mu family, and he won't let me call myself his sister. His eyes reddened. He sniffled softly, holding back the bitterness. Miyulu suddenly remembered what Kubeibai had said when he was so agitated. "Have you thought about how your real brother feels? How about we go ask Brother Mu again tomorrow?" What he really meant, she ventured to ask. tried to open my mouth and ask. Miyu nodded. He probably doesn't want to see our sister right now. Why don't you try contacting him tomorrow at noon, after his 12 o'clock class ends? No, wait until after he finished lunch to call him. I don't have any meetings tomorrow afternoon. I'll arrange my schedule in the morning, then call you later. Should we go see him together, or should I go alone? Miyu hadn't originally thought that Miyu would go with him. Unexpectedly, his second sister nodded very decisively. I want to go, and I really want to know if he actually knows something, and how he found out. Also, I want to apologize to him. In the past, I was too harsh on him. Whether he forgives me or not, I owe him an apology. Miyu's expression was somewhat hard to read. Miyu didn't know if he truly wanted to apologize to you, but since he wants to go, then let's go together. Monday at noon, you received another call from Miyu. Brother Mu, are you at school? Miyu's tone was very calm, so you couldn't detect any emotion at all. After hesitating for a moment, you decided not to say anything, but you didn't hang up either. Miyu seemed to let out a sigh, and then you heard him say, "Can you take the afternoon off? I want to meet you." You frowned and said, "Didn't we agree not to bother each other?" Miyu replied, "It's not just me. Your second sister and I are coming to see you together." You sneered back, "Don't use the word sister. You don't deserve it. I don't have sisters like you." Miyu didn't want to argue over these details, so he said directly, "Take the afternoon off. Your second sister and I will wait for you at your school gate at 1:45. You glanced at your watch. It was almost 1 o'clock. You said impatiently, "What do you two want that you have to say it in person? Can't you say it over the phone?" Miyu was silent for a moment on the other end. "It's not convenient to talk on the phone. We'll leave soon. We should get there between 1:30 and 1:45. You didn't say anything else. You hung up and went back to the other side of the classroom. Miyu looked at the phone that had already hung up, feeling a bit dazed. He really hadn't expected that you would agree to meet them. He agreed. He didn't refuse. "Then I'll prepare a card." Miyu said, "It's not much, just 100,000. Miyu shook his head after hearing that. "I told my best friend about Brother Miyu and the family situation. If you give him money, it might just deepen his misunderstanding." Miyu smiled and said, "It's fine. If he doesn't want it, I'll just take it back. I know he must have gone back to his foster family's house. That family isn't well off." Miyu stared at him for a while before asking, "I remember you weren't as extreme as our third sister, but you weren't exactly kind to Brother Miyu either." "Yeah." Miyu picked up his coffee and turned his gaze out the window. "If he hadn't reminded me, I might not have thought of all this. Come to think of it, all these years, he's been tiptoeing around, trying to earn everyone's approval. I won't comment on you all, but I myself went way too far. No matter what, he's still our blood-related brother, born from the same mother." Hearing this, Miyu got a bit angry. "Miyu, don't overthink things. Over the years, what has Muma done wrong? Are you suspecting Muma now?" Miyu turned his head and looked at his sister. "You ask me what Muma did wrong. Sure, he's not wrong. But what did Brother Miyu do wrong? Every time, whatever Muma said, we just believed it outright. And you, didn't you do the same with what Brother Miyu said? Are there two different interpretations? Don't tell me you never considered the worst one. Maybe he's a writer and screenwriter himself. Of course, he's written countless characters. If you put yourself in his shoes, he admits he couldn't endure for years like you did. Within a week, he'd have completely fallen out with you." Mayalu listened to this barrage of questions and didn't argue further. She just shook her head, sighed, and said, "Let's go. It's about time. We'll make it to his school gate just in time." With that, she picked up her bag, stood up, and walked out. Maya also set down her cup, silently got up, and followed. Time quickly reached 1:40. After you walked out of the school gate, you saw Mayalu's Maserati parked by the roadside not far away. Maserati. You walked over and knocked on the car window. The window rolled down, revealing Mayalu's face. "Get in." You opened the rear door and sat inside. Up front were Mayalu and Maya, in the Western restaurant. After Maya ordered, she put her phone aside. Instantly, an awkward silence fell among the three of them. "You spoke first. I've taken leave. Just tell me whatever you have to say directly. Your second sister and I came to see you, to find out what you know about Muma." "What exactly do you know?" "That day when you left, what did that remark you made to Mom really mean?" "To get your answer straight." Mayalu said it all in one breath. "Your second sister realized you had a hidden meaning, so we came to find out what you're really trying to say. Are you trying to say Muma is Dad's illegitimate son?" You paused for a moment, and saw Maya looking at you with the same eager expression. "Well, the college entrance exam is coming up. It's a fact that Muma has good grades, though it's none of my business. If I can mess with his mindset a little, at least it'll cheer me up. Besides, I was planning to tell them anyway. I just hadn't figured out how yet. Since they came to me, I'll tell them. Let Muma and Muyangkun, that father and son, face the Lee family's wrath early on." Hey, that's it." You spoke with a hint of a sneer in your tone. "Muma's biological mother is called Fu Shubao. She lives at Building 8, Zone 1, Zhongwen Huafu. Muma is your half-brother, sharing the same father. And your mother, along with all of you, like a bunch of fools, not only doted on your own dad's son from another woman, but loved him like the apple of your eye. Is that clear enough?" Upon hearing this, Mayalu was stunned, her mouth wide open. Maya also raised her hand to cover her mouth. But then, she asked rapidly, "How do you know this?" Why didn't you say so earlier? Mailu followed up, do you have proof? Honestly, she didn't fully believe your words, but since you had a name and address, there must be a person named Fu Shubao. As for whether it's true, she would naturally send someone to investigate. She just really didn't want to believe that the Muma brother she'd always cherished was actually her own half-brother. If Muma himself knew about this too, wouldn't that be too terrifying? That thought slipped out of her mouth directly, and the nameless anger in your heart instantly blazed up. Why should I give you proof? When you, Mailu, threw things and cursed me, why didn't you ask for proof then? Why? When Muma slandered me, you didn't ask him for proof. How I know is none of your business. And you, with all your bluster, ask me for proof. Do I need to give you proof? Whether you believe it or not is your problem. What does it have to do with me, even a cent's worth? Asking me for proof, why should I give it to you? You can just assume I'm making it up, right? Mai quickly tried to soothe him. Nuge, don't get angry. I was just saying it casually. Miyulu blushed with embarrassment, but you showed no sign of stopping. Ha, just a casual remark, and you want me to provide evidence. Who does he think he is? A judge or a cop? Even if I had evidence, why would I give it to him? I'm telling you all this, only because you're not completely stupid. Otherwise, I'd just wait and watch the Mu family's joke unfold. You care about face, don't you? 18 years of hard work, raising a son who's a 2+1 like a star surrounded by the moon. And you're about to hand over the family fortune to him. TSK. I really look forward to seeing what the news reports will say after this comes out. Being cursed out by an 18-year-old still in high school made me you lose face turn ugly. Watch your mouth. She's still your mother. We're your sisters. You still carry the Mu family blood. You heard this and sneered. Are you suffering from amnesia or are you just plain stupid? Last week, I just cut off all ties with you. That woman is your mother. And your beloved brother Muma. I have nothing to do with you anymore. Don't come crawling to me for a connection. Do you really think what you've done to me qualifies you as sisters? Qualifies you to be my sisters? That woman doesn't deserve to be my mother either, even if we share blood. I'm sorry, but I don't want you anymore, understand? It's me who doesn't want you. Got it? Miyuki looked silently at this now utterly unfamiliar brother. Her heart suddenly ached a little. Your sudden anger didn't make him angry. Instead, it made him feel even more guilty. Mujie, he reached out and grabbed your hand. I'm sorry. It's my fault. I shouldn't have jumped to conclusions and kept saying harsh things to you. I treated you badly in the past. Please come home with us. I promise I'll treat you well from now on, okay? Hearing this, not only you, but even Miyulu was a bit stunned. Although Miyulu also wanted you to return to the Mu family, she definitely still expected you to apologize to father, mother, and Muma. After all, in her view, no matter who was wrong, kicking someone in the balls that day was not right, let alone sending them to the hospital. Just as these thoughts crossed her mind, you pulled your hand free from Ryuyi's and said, no need. I'm fine now. I have nothing to do with you anymore. What? You've always thought I was after the Mu family's wealth. After leaving the Mu family and cutting ties with you. Everything from your Mu family has nothing to do with me. I can support myself. I don't need your pity. With that, you stood up. The question you came to verify. I've already told you. I have no obligation to give you this information for free. Remember to pay up. Hearing this, Miyulu inexplicably felt very angry. You say you're not after the Mu family's stuff. Money. That's all you know. How much? Name your price. Miyuyi quickly stood up, pulled her back, and turned to you, saying, Mujie, don't be angry. Big sister is just like that. You raised an eyebrow. That's your sister. Don't talk to me about any big sister. I don't acknowledge you anymore. From now on, you're just strangers to me. What she's like has nothing to do with me. Anyway, the information isn't free for you. Considering your pitiful future, might bring me a bit of amusement. I'll sell you this piece of news today, for a cheap price of 100,000 yuan. If I sold it to some big media outlet, I wouldn't dare say for sure, but 200,000 to 300,000 yuan would be easy, right? Miss Mu number 2, you know my WeChat account, right? Do I need to write it out for you? Miyuki stopped Miyulu, who was trembling with anger, picked up her phone, and frantically started searching for your account. You just stood there watching him rummage through things. Sure enough, it was deleted. Then you pulled out your wallet, took out a bank card and placed it on the table. Take a picture and transfer it to my account. Miyuki felt nothing but regret in her heart. Suddenly he took a card from his bag and put it on the table. This card has exactly 100,000 in it. You interrupted, saying what would I want with your card? Transfer it to my account. And then, no one from your Mu family, no matter what. Don't bother me ever again. Miyuki took a photo of the bank card, just as she was about to speak and try to mend things with you. She saw you pick up your own bank card, turn around and walk away, without even glancing back at them. Miyulu's face darkened, staring at the table in silence. Miyuki didn't bother saying anything to him, got up and chased after you. Outside the coffee shop, he caught up and said, Brother Mu, can you listen to me for a few words? You stopped, turned around, and looked at him. Miyuki sped up his words, said, I know that ever since you came to the Mu family, I've always treated you badly. It was my fault. Can you forgive me? Seeing the impatience appear on your face, in your expression, he quickly continued, I'm not asking you to come back to the Mu family. nor to forgive all of us. I genuinely want to apologize to you. His eyes reddened. On the verge of tears, he said, everything in the past was my fault. I shouldn't have sided with Muma. Sometimes I even ignored your presence at home. It was all my fault. Brother Mu, please forgive me, okay? You waited quietly until he finished speaking. Then said, Second Miss Mu, after cutting ties, I have nothing to do with your Mu family, or any of its people or matters anymore. What's past is past. There's absolutely no way to go back to how things were. You don't need to apologize. I've already forgotten what happened before. Miyuyi's tears finally fell. I feel so guilty and uneasy inside. You interrupted him, saying there's no need. Your guilt is your own business. Just don't drag me into it. Let's all just try our best to be strangers to each other. Goodbye. Miyuyi stood there frozen, watching his retreating figure, silently crying. He regretted it so much. He hated himself so much. Why did he treat his only biological brother that way? Why was he so good to that fake? Miyulu sat in his seat and didn't get up, nor did he pay any attention to Miyuyi. He was wondering if you said those things on purpose. Was it possible that you deliberately arranged for someone to be at that address? But then he dismissed that guess. Even if you're very smart, you probably don't have that much money to do all this. Thinking about it, he could no longer stop his thoughts from spiraling. If father had been hiding Muma's true identity all along, then doesn't that mean father had someone outside the family 20 years ago? How could he accept that? If mother found out, she definitely wouldn't be able to handle it either. You bastard, dropping this news after leaving the Mu family. Are you trying to tear the Mu family apart? That's just too vicious of you. Was it just paying you a little less attention over the past 4 years? If outsiders found out, the Mu family's face would be completely lost. But if what you said is true, then what happens to the Mu family? He was lost, didn't know what to do. Soon it was Saturday. The 3 weekly draws of the double color ball were all bought after school in the afternoon. A total of 5 different number sets, each bought 5 times. You weren't sure how much this kind of prize would amount to in total, but you believed it wouldn't be less than 30 million. After taxes, it would be around 20 million. For what you wanted to do in the future, that was undoubtedly more than enough. I can't use it all, no matter what. The double color ball lottery has always been a game and tool for all the dreamers and schemers. You're not sure if everything after rebirth will be the same as your past life. When it's time to be nervous, you still get nervous. On the other hand, this double color ball draw is your only way to confirm that the future won't change drastically. That night, you didn't watch TV. You just sat quietly in your room, waiting for the 8 p.m. lottery results. There was a live stream on your phone. When your heart pounded like thunder as you watched the last ball land on 13, you couldn't hold back your excitement. You let out a small cheer. Then, you tossed and turned in bed for a while. After calming down, you put that lottery ticket inside your phone case, planning in your mind, after claiming the prize, the first thing is to buy a house for Qinjun and his wife. A big house, and also buy one for Yao Yao. That little shop they've rented for over 20 years. You'll buy it and give it to them too. Then, with a smile you couldn't suppress, you spread out the exam papers you had to finish this weekend. Meanwhile, Miyulu and Muyuyi had talked several times this week. They were surprised to find that when they truly stepped outside the Mu family circle and looked at everything happening at home, from an outsider's perspective, they did notice some things that weren't quite right. Muma's obedience and docility, as well as his clingy behavior toward his mother, seemed a bit too forced. Though the signs weren't obvious, they were still noticeable. If you hadn't reminded them, they would still be like before, thinking this younger brother was truly outstanding and excellent, and also very filial and obedient to their parents. Big sister, haven't you started yet? Miyuyi sat cross-legged on the big chair in her room. Miyulu sighed and spoke. This was the 3rd time they'd discussed this in a week. No, not yet. I still can't make up my mind. I'm afraid the results will be true. I'm afraid mom won't be able to handle it. I'm afraid this family will fall apart. Miyuyi silently watched this wise and intelligent big sister. In recent years, after Miyulu entered the company, she became CEO after just 1 year of internship. One of the goddesses among Zhong City's young elites, but so far, none of them have caught her eye. Yet when it comes to internal Mu family matters, why is it so hard for her to decide? Muma's coming-of-age banquet is coming up soon. Are you waiting until after that? Miyuyi was a bit anxious. She knew how wealthy families operated. They usually use this time to announce the future heir's status. Once that's announced, and then this bombshell drops, it'll be too late to turn back. Irreversible. Miyulu also knew how important the timing of the revelation was. A bombshell dropped at different times has different impacts. Yuyi, it's not that I don't want to. It's that I'm really torn. Big sister, Miyuyi was getting anxious. If we delay, it'll hurt the Mu family even more. Facts are facts. There's no way to keep covering them up. The later it's discovered, the more it hurts mom. If you keep hesitating, I'll do it myself. I absolutely can't stand him continuing to deceive our mom, and I don't want the Mu family to fall into an outsider's hands. That's absolutely not okay. Miyulu shook her head slightly. At most, he's an illegitimate child. He's still a descendant of the Mu family. It's not like he's an outsider taking over. Miyuyi let out a cold laugh. Ha, if it really were what you think, I'd rather he'd be a pure outsider. He has no blood relation to the Mu family at all. But if he did, have you ever thought about it? One day, he'll bring his real mother in. When that happens, what will mom and us sisters be? Just making wedding clothes for someone else? Sis, give me an answer, are we doing this or not? If not, I'll contact the paparazzi right now to start investigating. Deputy Shubao, I'll pay for it myself. Miyulu squeezed her hand. Don't make things hard for me, I've already told someone to start looking into it. It's just a matter of when they begin. They're still waiting for my word, so don't add to my troubles, okay? Miyuki got a bit angry after hearing that. Adding to your troubles. I call this setting things right. This can't be dragged out any longer. I don't care when you start the investigation. I'm contacting my people right now. He picked up his phone from the table and started scrolling through his contacts. Seeing this, Miyulu quickly stood up and walked over. She snatched the phone away and said, "No, Yuyi, let me think about it a bit more, okay? This would have to big an impact on the Mu family and on mom." Miyuyi said coldly, "Sis, I never thought you'd be so indecisive. You've really let me down. In this regard, you're not even as good as Mujay. He knows when to cut his losses. But you, the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company, and yet on something this critical, you're so useless. I misjudged you. Sis, let me be clear with you. Whether you take action on this or not, I'll do it myself. What a waste of these past few precious days." He stood up, reached out, and took back his phone. "Even if the Mu family falls apart, I have the ability to earn my own living. I don't need you to support me. Don't use that excuse to brush me off. You, on the other hand, think about it. What can you do after the Mu family collapses? Get married and manage someone else's company. Think it over carefully. I'm going to sleep now. Go back to your own room." Miyulu opened her mouth but ultimately said nothing. She left Miyuyi's room dejectedly. Miyuyi pulled open a drawer. From the very bottom, she took out a family photo. In it, you stood at the edge, your eyes showing excitement but also a hint of loneliness. In the photo, Muma looked calm, naturally enjoying the center spot. On Tuesday, you took leave to claim the prize. You bought a cheap pair of sunglasses on the street, put on a hat and a mask, refused interviews and donations, and collected a total prize of about 22.5 million. Then, after taking a taxi on a long ride around the city, you returned to school. The only thing left to wait for now was the college entrance exam. All your time was spent doing practice problems. You even remembered most of the questions from this year's exam. All you had to do was wait for the scores to come out, so it wouldn't seem too sudden. Your grades were already good, and now with this hard-working image, it would undoubtedly convince anyone who doubted your results. Time passed very quickly. During this period, you studied hard every day, went home on time, and because the exam was approaching, crossing Jung'an-guro, started from the beginning of June, closing the shop right after lunch every day, and going home to prepare a nutritious dinner just for you. You didn't say many words of thanks. What you could do was give them the best results as repayment. Inside the foreign language school exam hall, 3 proctors kept pacing around the room. You focused on answering the paper, and even though you finished early, you didn't hand it in ahead of time. Only after the bell rang did you, like the other students, submit your paper on time and leave the exam room. After the 2-day exam ended, you already knew how well you'd done. The questions were no different from your past life's exam. You were very sure your score would be much higher than in your previous life. I don't dare hope for a perfect score, but on a 750-point exam, you believe you can score around 720 or above. The only thing to consider is which school to choose. At 10 in the morning on the 10th, you got up and went to the small restaurant to help wrap wontons and make buns. By 10 in the morning, there were no more customers. You sat down and started scrolling on your phone. You wanted to see how much fallout from the lottery incident still remained. There was a lot of news online, but most of it was still skeptical. The doubt wasn't about the winner, but about the numbers. After all, 3 people had won first prize. Some doubted, others trusted the officials. Mainly, it was the winning numbers that were just too incredible. In history, this was the first time 7 consecutive numbers had appeared. It was something that could only exist in theory. Yet now it had happened. You smiled, stared at your phone for a while, then decided to buy a house in September of next year, which would be the 2nd year after your death in your past life. 2 new subway lines would start construction. You decided to buy 2 houses along the future subway lines. At the same time, you'd buy a few apartments. That way, your family wouldn't have to keep running this small restaurant. Relying on rent could secure your future standard of living no lower than it is now. Act on your thoughts. Mom, Dad, I'm going out for a bit. There are no customers right now anyway. As soon as you finished speaking, you heard Guro quickly reply, Go ahead. I told you to go out and have fun. You insisted on coming here. Your dad and I are enough." The administrator also nodded vigorously. "Go ahead, hang out with your classmates for a few days. Once you start college, you'll make new friends." So you left the restaurant, opened the map, and chose the nearest real estate agency. Over 2 weeks had passed, and the only useful thing Miyuyi had gotten was that Mu Yongquan had indeed been to Zhongguan Huafu twice. As for Mu Ma, starting the day after the college entrance exam ended, he had been out carousing and partying, fooling around with young female students. the evidence in his hands, couldn't prove anything at all. If his father, Myongkwan, just had a mistress on the side, that kind of thing was trivial. It was all too common in wealthy families. And as for Muma, even if he had assaulted an innocent girl, that kind of thing wouldn't have any impact on the Mu family. Neither scenario would bother him, because neither would affect the Mu family. He was still anxiously waiting for the latest news. He was very disappointed in his eldest sister's inaction, so he paid out of his own pocket to hire a few people to keep watch. The result he wanted was proof that Muma and his father had appeared together at Zhongguan Huifu. Even though you had already explained their relationship, without solid, concrete evidence, it was ultimately useless. His anger wasn't really directed at Muma, but at his father. Myongkwan had kept the whole family in the dark for nearly 20 years. What kind of man could, over the past 20+ years, keep playing the role of a loving husband in front of his children, acting affectionate? It was simply unimaginable. He once thought his father and mother might be enemies, or that something had happened over 20 years ago that caused his father to have Fu Shubao on the outside. But everything needed evidence. Over the course of a week, you followed the real estate agent through all 5 districts north of the river. In the end, you chose small, second-hand apartments, perfect for couples or single renters. 11 units in total. The sizes ranged from about 80 to 120 square meters. You spent over 21 million. And these houses, you used Qin Yao's name for everything. You don't have a single house under your own name. Looking at the balance in your mobile banking app, you just feel that money really doesn't go far. By now, your preparations before leaving home are basically complete. The property deeds have been in hand for nearly a week. Tomorrow, you can start checking your college entrance exam results. You didn't just take out the property deeds and lay them on the table at home, telling your family you're the big prize winner. You need to wait until the results come out before you bring out those property deeds. First, give the honor to your adoptive parents, then give the wealth to Yao Yao. Only then can they rest assured that Yao Yao will never have to worrying about money for the rest of her life. With their only daughter backed by these properties, they should be able to work less hard. And now it's already nearly 7 p.m. on the 21st. The newly bought computer, tablet, and phone are all placed on your bed. According to the notice, results can be checked after 8 p.m. tonight. Guru asked cautiously, Muje, have you checked your results yet? Xinjiang didn't say a word. Instead, Xin Yao turned her head from the dining table and said, not yet. My brother said he'll wait for you all to come back and check together. Xinjiang was naturally happy to hear that. Good. Let's check together. Muje will definitely be fine, Guru said while washing her hands. Soon, she finished washing, came out, and sat on the sofa. Muje, check it now. I know you must have done well. You looked at your nervous adoptive parents, smiled, and said, don't worry, I know roughly what my score will be. Then you got up, went back to your room, and took out your admission ticket, placing it on the coffee table. Seeing the whole family gather around, 3 pairs of eyes fixed on your phone screen, you opened the app and found the query window. After entering your admission ticket number, when what you saw wasn't your own score, but a floating window saying your ranking had entered the province's top 30, with details to be checked on the 27th, you felt everything was settled. But when you looked up and saw 3 pairs of confused eyes, you handed the phone to Guru and said, Mom, I'm in the province's top 30. Guru held the phone and looked at it for a while, then handed it to Xinjiang. Brother Mu, what does this mean? Why isn't there a score? After Xinjiang looked at it, he put down the phone, and Xin Yao immediately grabbed it. You smiled and said, the scores for the province's top 30 won't be released right now. Xinjiang held Guru's hand and laughed. Top 30 in the province. Haha, that must be at least over 700 points, right? Muje, you smiled and said, not sure exactly how much. We'll know in a few days when we check. Guru couldn't help but tear up, but Xinjiang patted her hand and comforted her. Since that's the case, there's no rush. Guru couldn't hold back her tears. Muje, you're really such a good child. Xin Yao also reached out and hugged him. Oh, Mom, my brother is in the province's top 30. If he scores over 730, he might even be the provincial top scorer. This is a good thing. Why are you crying? Guru hugged her. Silly girl. Your brother has endured so much hardship over the past 4 years. You quickly said, Mom, don't talk about that. I did so well. All because of you. You've cultivated good study habits in me since I was little. This is all your credit. Xinjiang let out a long breath, stood up, and said, today is a great day. Brother Mu will definitely get into Qingbai. This is the happiest day of my life. Such a good child. Not valued in the Mu family. That's their loss, Brother Mu. Come, have a drink with me. Wife, fry me some peanuts, and make a couple of dishes to go with the drinks. Today, I'm going to drink to my heart's content. At the same time, meanwhile, Mu Ma also, accompanied by the whole family, checked his own exam results. Back when he was estimating his scores, he had guessed around 660 points. When the screen showed 638 points, he immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Then he handed his phone to Li Huiwan. I wonder how many points Brother Mu scored. He was very careful not to let any emotion slip into that sentence. After Li Huiwan saw the results, the smile on her face, upon hearing those words, instantly froze. She turned to look at Miyulu and said, Yulu, why don't you give him a call and ask how many points Brother Mu scored? Why ask him? Mu Yanquan's face had already darkened. What does his score have to do with us? Miyulu quietly took out her phone, but before she could dial, Miyuyi pressed her hand down. Miyuyi smiled and said, Muma scored so well. Are you planning to go abroad or stay in the country for university? Mu Tanchan also smiled warmly. Muma, you're definitely going abroad, but big sister can't bear to see you leave. Studying abroad means being away for years. Mom will miss you. As for Mujay, even if he did well, so what? Sis, think about it. Dad definitely won't give him money to study abroad, and his adoptive parents run a small restaurant. Do they have the money to send him abroad? Obviously not. Those poor folks could never earn enough in a lifetime to fund his studies abroad. Besides, they have a biological daughter in their family. Even if they had money, they wouldn't spend it on him. If you ask me, Mujay getting into a 985 school is already his good luck. Maybe he'll only make it to a 211. Miyulu also looked up at Mumai and asked, Yeah, Muma, what do you think? Li Huiwen put down her phone and looked at Mu Yanquan. Maybe he shouldn't go abroad. If Muma also goes abroad, then I'll go with him. Mu Yanquan chuckled upon hearing that. Muma, the study abroad plans are already arranged, but the donation matter hasn't been settled yet. With that, he looked at Muma, his face full of relief. Muma, which school do you want to go to? Muma lowered his eyes and replied, I also can't bear to leave Mom and all of you to go abroad alone. If I stay in the country, I want to go to school in Modu. I don't want to go to the capital. Li Huiwan's face lit up with joy. Then don't go. The capital, Modu, it's close to home. You grew up in Modu. Your little sister will take care of you there. It'll definitely be fine. Muma said nothing in response, just looked up at his father. Li Huiwan saw this and continued, Muma likes Modu, so go to Modu. Mom will go with you then. Mu Yanquan shook his head. Forget it. Better to go abroad. Go study hard for a few years and come back. Then you can directly learn to manage the company from your eldest sister. Everything in the Mu family will eventually be yours to control. Muma immediately spoke up, then what about Brother Mu? Are we really just going to abandon him? After saying this, he lowered his head and fell silent. Mu Tanchan sneered. Muma, are you stupid? He's the one who doesn't want to come back. It's not like we forced him to leave the Mu family. This is all his own doing. Why bother with him? Let him roll around in the slums. After Mu Yi asked that question, she didn't speak again. She stared intently at Muma and at her father's expression. From the moment Muma said those words, she had already started observing. If it were before, she might have been like her younger sister Mu Tanchan, belittling you, the silent one at home, but now she realized that her younger sister Mu Tanchan was the truly brainless one in the family. Muma had said to things in total, although it sounds like they're pitying you, but if you look at it from another angle, it's stirring up father and third sister, making them more determined to cut ties with you. But why would third sister show such strong disgust toward you, without any pretense at all? He also couldn't understand why mother seemed somewhat reluctant to let you go, yet also seemed indifferent. Could it be that during this time, Muma has been feeding him some kind of brainwashing nonsense? He didn't speak, sat quietly on the sofa, watching Miyulu, raised his hand and slapped Mu Tangkun's lips. No matter what, Brother Mu is also your own younger brother. If you don't like him, fine. There's no need to belittle him like that. Ask about Brother Mu's grades in a few days. Since Muma wants to know, we'll find out clearly and then tell you. But this isn't really that important. If Muma wants to go abroad, you should pick a good school. If not abroad, then to the Magic City. Muma, you absolutely must choose finance. Finance in the Magic City is very strong. Domestically speaking, no place can compare to the Magic City. Yuyi looked at Big Sister, her eyes fixed intently on Muma, then looked at Muma, head bowed in thought. He was about to speak, when he heard Muma say, I'll go abroad after all. Living and studying alone overseas should help me develop my independence faster. These past years at home, you've all spoiled me. I feel like I can't leave you. Muma looked at Li Huwen and said softly, Mom, if you really can't bear to see me go, then why don't you come abroad with me? Li Huwen hesitated upon hearing this. Well, let's talk about it after Muma's coming-of-age banquet. Isn't it too early to decide now? He had always been an indecisive person, the worst at making decisions. Miyangquan coughed and said, then go abroad. It's settled. Miyulu glanced at Miyuyi, stood up and said, then that's it. I'm going back to my room now. Miyuyi followed, standing up, I'm going to my room too. Mu Tangkun, on the other hand, picked up his bag and said, Muma, want to go out and play with your sister? Inside the room, Miyuyi lit a cigarette. With a grim expression, she said, Big sister, don't you think everything Muma said today was intentional? Miyulu sighed. If you look at it with prejudice, then of course it's intentional. But what if Muma was just asking out of genuine curiosity? Why do you have to think so badly of him? It's normal for kids to compare themselves to others. There's no need to overthink it. Miyuyi didn't want to hear this pointless talk. She asked directly, these past few days, have you found out anything? Miyulu shook her head, nothing useful. But what I can confirm is, Dad has indeed been in contact with that Fushubao. He's been there 3 times in the past half month. Miyuyi said softly, but that's not enough. There's no way to prove Muma's relationship with him. Big sister, I've already withdrawn the commission. There are other ways to prove this. Miyulu looked up and said, I thought of that too. To prove it, we just need to get a strand of Fushubao's hair and do a paternity test. What I'm worried about isn't the result. It's what the result will lead to. How are we going to make mom accept it? If she can't accept it, what can we even do? Miyuyi smiled bitterly. What else can we do? I'll handle it. Miyulu was silent for a moment. Then she asked, so you don't trust me? You think I would falsify things for the sake of this family? She paused, then looked Miyuyi in the eye and said, I admit, I don't want the result to be true. I hope the result shows that Mumaya and Dad have no blood relation at all. That way, this family won't fall apart. Mom, don't be sad either. We can still stay together peacefully. Even if Brother Mu doesn't come back, this family is still fine. To put it more harshly, sacrificing Mujie alone, in exchange for this family's stability, and the Mu family's reputation outside, I think it's worth it. After all, whether it's Mom and Dad or us, none of us like him. Isn't that right? Do you really want this family to fall apart? Before you feel at ease? Before you're satisfied? Yuye, how did you become like this? Weren't you and third sister the ones targeting Mujie before? I may have ignored him, but I rarely said such unbearable things to him. I remember the first one to tell him to get out of the Mu family. Was you, wasn't it? Shower Gel's string of questions made Shower Liquid break down. She lowered her head, looking at her hands, tears dripping onto her arms and hands. Yes, it was me who always spoke harshly to him. Even third sister. I was the one who stirred her up to target Mujie together. This is all my fault. My mistake was suggesting he leave. I shouldn't have kept bad-mouthing him in front of Mom and Dad. And I definitely shouldn't have egged Tang Kun on to hurt his feelings. She looked up, her face streaked with tears. Sis, I was wrong. I'm sorry. Don't hesitate anymore, sis. We should tell Mom about this. No matter what, we should let Mom know. If Mumaya is her biological son, then Mom deserves to know even more. Stop talking. Shower Gel interrupted her. Mom's health hasn't been great. Don't you think if we tell her directly, she might not be able to handle it? If something happens, I'd die of guilt. Shower Liquid choked up. But we can't hide it from Mom forever. If it's really like Dad said, and everything in the family goes to Muma, then what are we? Sis, what about all you sacrificed for this family? And third sister, fourth sister. Fourth sister is still in school. She should be able to accept it. But third sister tends to go to extremes. Shower Gel rubbed her temples. All right. Stop crying. Your crying is getting on my nerves. Let me think about it some more. Shower Liquid wiped her tears and said, no matter what you decide, I absolutely cannot accept that bastard staying in this house. The one who should really leave this family is Muma. Shower Gel waved her hand. All right. I get it. Go back to your room. In the next couple of days, I'll collect some hair and get a paternity test done. Shower Liquid stood up. Whether you do it or not, I don't care. I don't trust you anyway. I'll find my own way to do it. And don't you try to hide it from Mom. Once the results come out, I'll tell Mom everything. Better a short pain than a long one. I'll arrange it. Shower Gel stared at her blankly. You're really trying to drive me crazy. Forget it. Do whatever you want. Meanwhile, in the living room, the Chin family gathered around the dining table, eating a KFC family bucket. You give the remaining 3 chicken legs to Godfather and Godmother, and to Yao Yao. Then he got up and went back to his room. When he came out, he was carrying a stack of red booklets, property deeds. On top were an unopened tablet and phone. He also had a laptop bag slung over his shoulder. Mujie saw the whole family staring at him, and walked over with a smile. He put everything on the sofa and said, Mom, Dad, Yao Yao, these are all for you. Shinzan and Guru looked at the stack of property deeds, trembling as they opened the top one. Shinzan picked up another one. Only Chin Yao grabbed the phone first, shouting in surprise, wow, brother, is this for me? You smiled and rubbed the top of his head, saying, actually, all of these are for you. There are 11 houses in total. The computer, tablet, and phone are all yours. By now, the administrative officer had only had 2 glasses of wine, so his mind was still perfectly clear. The property deeds are written very clearly. The owner is Chin Yao. Mujie, where did you get the money? Yeah, Mujie, where did you get so much money to buy all these houses? Guru asked, chiming in. He didn't stop what he was doing. He picked up one deed after another, opened them, and looked through them. Brother, did you win the lottery? Chin Yao asked while tearing open the packaging. You chuckled and nodded. Last month's final double color ball draw. I won 5 grand prizes, and 5 third-place prizes too. Wow, brother, you're rich. Guru put down the last property deed in her hand, looked up with reddened eyes at you, Brother Mu, and said, why didn't you put your own name on them? Xinzheng, standing nearby, was left speechless. He still hadn't snapped out of his shock. After hearing this, Chin Yao slowly asked, let me see whose name my brother wrote. She randomly flipped open one deed, and immediately let out a scream. Brother, why did you write my name? She casually picked up another one, then the next. Xinzheng's lips trembled as he asked, Brother Mu, why did you do this? The money is yours. Wouldn't it be better to keep it for yourself? You smiled and said, Mom, Dad, all these houses are under Yao Yao's name, and they're all old, rundown properties. I've already contacted an agent to rent them out. When the time comes, the rent will be the family's main source of income. As for that restaurant, just renovate it. And only serve lunch and dinner. Don't keep getting up at 2 or 3 in the morning to work. If it were up to me, you two could become landlords right now. I never expected to win the lottery either. And the houses are already bought. Don't dwell on it. I have the ability to earn money myself. In the future, I'll buy you even better houses. When Yan, the administrative officer, sighed and said, but you can't just give everything to him. Aren't you keeping any for yourself? Upon hearing this, you calmly said, Mom, Dad, since I did this, of course I've thought it through. You only have Yao Yao as your daughter. Now you have me too. No matter what, one day Yao Yao will get married. These houses, as premarital property, will definitely not become someone else's. They will be property that Yao Yao can rely on in the future. No matter what, she won't have to live a hard life. Chen Yao interrupted, brother, how old am I? Why are you talking about this already? You pinched her cheek. You're my sister. Giving to you is only right. And the computer is for you too. Turning to the administrative officer, you continued, the houses are already bought. And they're all under her name. I'm definitely not taking them back. Besides, I still have over 2 million on hand. Whether it's for school or anything else in the future, it's more than enough, and I can still earn money. My college entrance exam scores definitely won't be low. So whether it's studying or living, you don't need to worrying about me. When the time comes, I'll live in the school dormitory, eat at the school cafeteria. There's nothing for you to worrying about. As for you, just stay home and live off the rent from now on. If you want to run that little restaurant, go ahead. If you don't want to, just close it. Anyway, we won't be short on money from now on, right? Guro wiped her tears and shook her head. No, we can't take your things. The administrative officer nodded. That's right, you're still a child. There's no reason for us to start living off you. We can still work. We can still support both of you through college. Even if you go to graduate school or get a doctorate, we can afford it too. You smiled and said, don't worry. Life will get better and better from now on. Really? I was even planning to get you a new car. It's just that I didn't want to buy it outright. I was afraid you wouldn't like it. Xing Jiang immediately shook his head and waved his hand, saying no. Don't spend any more money. Money is hard to come by these days. But it sure goes fast. Don't waste money anymore from now on. Upon hearing that, you quickly nodded. Smiling, you said, I understand. I haven't even had a few bites yet. I just wanted to take this opportunity today to let you both know. Not only am I good at studying, but I'm also very lucky. If it weren't for you, Mom and Dad, taking me in, I wouldn't have won the lottery, right? Guro couldn't help but nod along too. Xing Jian sighed and said, then let's keep eating. Honey, you pack these things away. That evening, Xing Jiang and Guro were lying in bed. Neither of them could fall asleep. We can't take those houses, Xing Jiang said. I know. It's just that they're already under Yao's name. It's not easy to change that in a short time. Besides, it would cost a lot of money to change it. And when changing the name, Brother Mu would have to sign. He probably wouldn't be willing to sign. Let's just leave the house matter as it is. When he chooses to go to university in the capital, let's go with him. At worst, I'll go beg them to provide Brother Mu with some help and convenience. Guro hesitated. She was a bit uncertain. Back when Shinzen was going through such hard times, he never went to beg them. Would it be inappropriate to go now? And we don't know exactly what Brother Mu needs. Xing Jiang sighed. He calls me dad, so I should do this. Otherwise, I wouldn't have the face to help him. In the other room, you had just returned to your room when you received a text message from Yue, Brother Mu. What score did you get on the college entrance exam? You glanced at it and tossed your phone aside, with no intention of replying at all. Although this second sister was the first to show you kindness, those years are in the past now. You didn't want those awful days to affect your future life. Time flew by. In the blink of an eye, it was the 27th. You could now check your college entrance exam scores. That day, Xinjiang and his wife didn't open their shop at all. Xin Yao had gone to school. The three of them sat on the sofa, waiting for the time to come. Brother Mu, what school do you want to get into? Murong couldn't help but ask. Upon hearing this, you replied, Mom and Dad, I've already decided. Finance major at Capital University. As for the rest, I'll figure it out when I get to the capital. I'll probably buy a house in the capital soon too. Then when you to come to the capital to see me, you won't have to stay in a hotel. Mingzhen was stunned for a moment and said, that's not necessary. I have a house in the capital. I just haven't taken it back yet. Upon hearing this, you asked curiously, you have a house in the capital. Apart from the past 4 years, I've never seen you go to the capital since I was little. Wu Lu hesitated and said, Xingjiang, have you thought it through? Xingjiang shook his head and said, let's not talk about that now. Check the score and see how many points it is. You lowered your head and started refreshing. Soon, the score displayed on the screen appeared, 732. You first showed the score to the couple. Then you spoke, this score should be in the top 3 of the province. No problem. Last year's provincial top scorer only got 727 points. I'm 5 points higher than him. But this year's exam probably wasn't as hard as last year's, so there might be others who did better than me. Guro and Xingjian were already very excited. If this was the provincial top scorer, that would be amazing. But then Guro asked, Brother Mu, if your score gets announced, will that Mu family come looking for you again? You quickly reassured her, Mom, don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. Even though biologically I am their child, raising kindness outweighs birth kindness. I remember how they treated me. I won't leave this home. Of course, when school starts, I'll go to college. Oh, right, the exam results are out. Soon someone will call or come by. What do you plan to do? The administrator shook his head and said, anyway, it's your college matter. We won't say a word. At worst, we'll just turn off our phones. With that, he pulled out his phone and turned it off. Guro saw this and turned hers off too. You get up, it's fine. I've already decided to choose the finance department at Jin University. I won't pick anything else. If we really can't avoid it, just tell them my choice directly. Meanwhile, on the other side, Miyuyi, ever since collecting Myeongkwan's hair in the bedroom, had also obtained Muma's hair. To ensure accurate results, he prepared 3 samples, sent to 3 different places for testing. Though he hadn't gotten the results yet, he had already seen from the news reports that this year's top science student is named Muje. Not just the name, but that face of yours. He could never forget it no matter what. At dinner time, he deliberately came downstairs early and sat in the living room waiting. His father came back with Muma. His mother didn't know about this yet. When he saw his father and younger brother walk in together, he suddenly had a strange thought. Could they have gone to meet Fu Shubao? Muma's expression wasn't great either, but after changing clothes upstairs and coming down, everything seemed normal. Big sister Mu Yulu didn't come back, not sure if she had a business dinner event. Tonight, only father, mother, him, Mu Tang-kun, and Muma were eating at home. In wealthy families, the rule is no talking during meals, though the Mu family followed this too. It wasn't very strict. After all, the one who talked the most was mother. She kept putting food in Muma's bowl, asking about his well-being, caring about Muma's situation at school. Miyuhi was about to mention the news reports about Brother Mu when he heard Muma say, Mom, Brother Muje got first place in the provincial science exam. Li Hu Wan's hand, which was putting food in his bowl, froze in midair. Then she put it in his bowl and said, really, Miyuhi doesn't know. His weak mother seemed to think of something again. Her eyes turned red again. This made Miyuhi feel very speechless. Yongkwan, why not call Muje back to celebrate? Li Hu Wen looked at her husband. Yongkwan didn't say a word, but his expression was extremely bad. Mu Tang-kun interrupted with a laugh. Why call him back? Mom, he's already cut ties with you. In other words, he doesn't want us anymore. Why bother groveling after him? Besides, Muma did great too. Even if he doesn't go abroad, he can easily get into a top 985 school. That jerk, just let him stay out there on his own. Calling him back would just be an eyesore. Muma picked up the serving chopsticks, put some food in Li Hu Wan's bowl, and said, third sister, don't talk about Brother Muje like that. It's not easy for him out there alone. I wonder if anyone cares about him. I think we should call him back. The college entrance exam is over. I'll move out for a while. Once I go abroad for school, he won't see me when he comes back. He should stay then. Li Hu Wen patted him and said, what nonsense are you talking? Where would you move to? Mom will go with you. Myeongkwan hadn't finished speaking. Muma, shut up. Don't mention that unfilial son in front of me again. If he's capable, let him make his own way. So what if he's the top science student? Does he think knowledge is wealth? Even if he's the national top scorer, he can't compare to what you'll inherit in the future. Mu Tang-kun laughed and said, Dad, you said it perfectly. A wealthy family, which one hasn't been built over several generations. Do you really think one person's effort alone can compete with a wealthy family? How ridiculous. Muma, don't overthink it. For someone like Muje, studying is the broad road to Rome. But you were born and raised in Rome. What does he have to compare with you? From now on, don't say things beneath your status. Just listen to our father. Li Huan nodded and said, yeah, that's right. Even though I have a high degree, actually, ever since I married your father, I haven't done anything. This is the foundation built up by the family. It's something ordinary people can't even imagine. Eat in peace. Don't think too much. If Brother Mi doesn't want to come back, then forget it. Mom can't bear to see you move out. That would break my heart. Miyuyu returned to her room and called Miyulu. Miyulu was having dinner with Gubai at the time. Seeing it was Mu Yuyi's call, she picked it up directly. Calling me at this hour. What's up, big sister? Do you know who this year's provincial science top scorer is? Miyulu paused. No, who? It's Muje. This year's provincial science top scorer is Muje. Miyulu now set down even the dinner knife in her right hand. She picked up the red wine in front of her and took a sip. What are you trying to say? Miyuyi said slowly. I remember Muma once said that Muji's grades at school were average. And what about us? We never asked why he knew Muji's grades, nor did we ever ask why he knew that Muje was hanging out with street thugs and delinquent girls. We never investigated and just believed it. Now Muje is the science top scorer. Think about it, isn't there something off here? What I find even more ridiculous is that during dinner tonight, it was Muma himself who told Mom that Muje got the top score, and no one asked me why. Before, everyone said Muji's grades were bad. If his grades were bad, how could he become the top scorer? Miyulu said impatiently. Don't tell me all this. I understand. No matter what, Those past matters were all stirred up by you and Tang-kun at home, without getting the report in hand. Saying anything now is useless. Stop bothering me. I have to finish dinner with Guli Shai. Whatever it is, we'll talk when I get back tomorrow night. Mu. Yi asked, you're not coming back tonight. Not coming back. Miyulu looked at Gu bye and threw him a big, flirtatious glance. We'll talk tomorrow night. She hung up the phone. Miyuyi picked up the family photo that had a piece torn off. She stared at it quietly. Another 4 days passed. Miss Mu, this is the appraisal report. Miyuyi was already in despair. This was the final appraisal report. The previous two had already given the answer, but she still couldn't accept it. Looking at the conclusion of the appraisal report, she felt her vision go dark again. Thank you. Her words of gratitude also sounded very weak. Back in the car, she didn't start the engine to leave. Why is it like this? Why? What should I do? The second daughter of the Mu family, a well-known screenwriter, sat in her sports car and cried softly. Confirmed biological relationship. She couldn't imagine what the consequences would be when these 3 reports were placed before her mother. Even less could she imagine what would happen if the media found out about your ordeal. What would happen? He regretted the anger and indignation from a week ago. His stubbornness when facing Big Sister. Now it all seemed like a joke. When he stood from Big Sister's perspective, considering the whole matter, he had been too hesitant. He, who prided himself on being calm, actually felt a trace of hatred toward you again. Why did you tell me all this? You have to watch Mujiafin fall apart before you feel satisfied. When you proposed cutting ties, had you already foreseen this outcome? He cried in the car for a long time. After his mood gradually calmed down, he touched up his makeup. Your number showed on his phone, but he just didn't have the courage to dial it. Is Big Sister free right now? Miyuyi thought it over, then still called Miyulu. After hanging up, Miyulu slowly put her pen away. Then she cleaned up that huge office desk. Half an hour later, Mu Tangchun and Ting Haosh stepped through the doors of the Kempinski Hotel. In room 608, Miyuyi had already placed the test reports on the bed. Aside from her eyes being a bit swollen, she looked fine otherwise. On the coffee table, there was not only an ashtray, but also an open bottle of red wine. Miyulu, sitting across from him, was also drinking. Neither of them spoke. They just sat there like that. When Mu Tangchun knocked, Miyuyi opened the door. Big sister, second sister, what's so important that we have to talk in a hotel? Can't we go home? He tossed his bag onto the sofa and plopped down beside Miyulu. Miyuyi didn't say anything, just turned and went into the bedroom. Miyulu poured him a glass of wine. Wait a bit. Look at the stuff first, then we'll talk. When Miyuyi came out, she handed the 3 test reports to Mu Tangchun. Mu Tangchun looked at Big Sister curiously, then at Second Sister's expressionless face. What documents are these? He took them and glanced at them, then froze. A paternity test report. Whose is this? The reports come from 3 different hospitals. The conclusions are all the same. There is a biological relationship between the 2 samples. Although Mu Tangchun didn't know whose it was, he understood very well that before you returned to the Mu family, you had also undergone a paternity test, and it was precisely because of this that he had always seen your existence as a stain on the Mu family. No matter what you did, he had never liked it. In fact, from start to finish, he had never given you a kind look. He had never spoken a kind word. Miyulu picked up the red wine in front of her, downed it in one gulp, then set down the glass and said, it's Dad and Muma's. Muma wasn't adopted. He's our half-brother, from the same father. Mu Tangchun's eyes widened. His red lips slightly parted. The hand holding the test report froze in midair. How is this possible? Big sister, are you mistaken? How could Muma possibly have a biological relationship with Dad? This is impossible. He suddenly flung the documents onto the sofa and shouted. Muma was brought back by Mom and Dad from the orphanage. I got the samples from Dad's bedroom and Muma's room. To ensure the results were accurate, I prepared 3 sets and had them tested at 3 hospitals simultaneously. The facts are what they are. Miyuhi exhaled a wisp of smoke, picked up her glass, and took a sip. She turned and walked to the window, looking outside and said, I really regret it. Miyulu sighed. What we have to face now is how to make Mom accept this reality. What he found strange was, Mu Tangchun didn't cry or scream. This third sister had always been the most hot-tempered one in the family. Tangchun, why are you acting so calm? Mu Tangchun sneered. I don't believe it at all. What's the purpose of you to making this thing? Even though this document has legal force, how can you prove that this really belongs to Dad and Muma? How much did Brother Mu pay you to make you team up and do something like this? Where did he get the money? And even if this really is Dad and Muma's, so what? Muyulu was speechless. He shook his head and said, nothing much. It just means that your beloved Muma is really your brother. As for Mom, it's just that the son she raised with all her love is actually the son of another woman. Miyuye probed, Tangchun, I know you have the best relationship with Muma. This not only proves Muma is Dad's illegitimate son, but also that Dad has been lying to Mom and us for sisters. Not to mention other possibilities. I just haven't gotten the evidence yet. Miyue glanced at the eldest sister, who nodded, then continued, the birth times of Mumai and Brother Mu are less than a month apart. How did Brother Mu get lost? We'll talk about that later. At least it shows that after mom got pregnant with brother Mu, dad found another woman outside. Brother Mu got lost. Dad brought Mu Ma home, claiming he came from an orphanage. Faking documents like these is easy. The problem is, mom doesn't know. Have you thought about what if Mu Ma himself knows his own background? 2. Think about it. We first sisters will marry off someday. Then only mom will be left at home. Mu Tanchen's face shifted with changing emotions. She picked up the red wine in front of her and downed it in one gulp, set the glass down and said, "You don't need to say anymore. I can roughly imagine the consequences, but I don't believe this report." Muyulu suddenly let out a light laugh. Just because you don't believe it, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Do you want me to create an opportunity for you to collect samples yourself, and then take them to the hospital for testing? Mu Tanshen didn't respond, but her face clearly showed anger, and a look of defiance. Muyulu didn't stop, continued, "I called you here because you're naive, still in school, and Yuye, and I share the same mother. Otherwise, given your temper, I wouldn't have called you at all. The fact that dad and Mu Ma are biological father and son. The only one who can't be involved is mom," Mu Tanshen said angrily. "You want me to turn my back on that ill-bred Mu Ma? No way. Dream on. No matter what, Mu Ma has lived with me for 18 years. 18 years? How many 18 years does a person have? I won't get involved in this. Whether you to acknowledge Mu Ma or not, I still recognize him as my brother." Muyulu was so angry he wanted to slap her right across the face. He held back and didn't do it, just panted heavily from his own rage. Muyuye shook her head. "You're overthinking it. I called you here to tell you, if Mu Ma himself knows about his and our dad's relationship, then your dear Mu Ma is a very sinister and dangerous person. Whether the first acknowledge him or not, he's still our half-brother. That's a fact. I won't deny that. But you need to think clearly. If all of the Mu family's assets go to him, and his biological mother is still alive, what will happen to mom in the future? Think about it right now. You're a top student in law. You should be able to figure it out." Mu Tanshen ignored him. Instead, she stared at Muyulu and asked, "What do you two want to do? Tell mom directly, or what?" Muyulu pointed at Miyuye and said, a sentence Mujie said the night he left home caught your second sister's attention. Later, he went with me to see Mujie. Mujie himself said that Mu Ma's dad's illegitimate son. He even knew that Mu Ma's biological mother, Fu Shubao, lives in Zhongguan Huifu. I investigated. Zhongguan Huifu. There really is a woman named Fu Shubao. And during this time, dad has been there 4 times. Even stayed overnight once. As for what your second sister found out, I'm not sure. But this is all I uncovered. I didn't want to do this paternity test at first. The recordings alone were almost enough to prove it. But there was no way to nail it down completely. It was your second sister who got the test done. That's the whole story. Don't glare at me yet. And don't say anything either. Miyulu stopped Mu Tankun, who was standing up to speak. Sugar alcohol. I called you here to discuss how to tell mom about this. Not to argue with you. If you have ideas, share them. If you don't want to be involved, then forget it. Your loud voice gives me a headache. Mu Tankun held back again and again. If big sister hadn't stopped him, he would have shouted out just now. You just believe whatever brother Mu says. Who does he think he is? How does he know all this? What's the source of his information? And what's his motive? I don't care if it's true or not. At least his motive is despicable. Isn't it just because he sees everyone being good to Mu Ma? He desperately wants to take everything from Mu Ma. He wants to destroy Mu Ma. Why else would he investigate all this? A person with such malicious intentions. Anyway, believe him if you want. It's none of my business. From the moment he first entered the Mu family, I've never trusted him. Miyulu shook her head and said, "Don't be so extreme, okay? Brother Mu never said anything about cutting ties. He was the one who brought it up himself. You're just forgetting his tactic of retreating to advance." Mu Tangkun's face was full of disdain. Otherwise, why would I say he's malicious? He pretends to leave the Mu family decisively, then throws this out. Does he think the Mu family really has no heir? It's ridiculous. Even if Mu Ma's dad's illegitimate son, he still has inheritance rights. He didn't grow up in the Mu family. He's only been here a few years, and hasn't contributed anything to the Mu family. He wants to use this method to take the Mu family's assets. I just think brother Mu is overthinking it. Miyulu really couldn't hold back. She stepped forward and slapped him. The crisp sound of the slap echoed in the room. Can't you see the situation clearly? Can you talk properly now? Mu Tangkun covered his face, staring at Miyulu in shock. You hit me. Miyuyi covered her mouth, also startled. Miyulu had never been this angry with anyone in the family before, and hitting someone was a first. Miyulu scolded with a dark expression. How many times have I told you? I called you here to discuss how to tell mom about this, not to discuss Mujie with you. I'm already annoyed enough by this whole thing, and you have to spout so much nonsense. And you're supposed to be a law student. Can't you even figure out who shares the same mother as you? If you can't see the situation clearly, and keep dragging in irrelevant topics, get out. Mu Tangkun covered his face, glaring fiercely at Miyulu. I'm not leaving. Miyulu couldn't be bothered with him. You can stay if you want, or not participate, that's fine too. She turned to Miyuyi and said, Yuyi, this can't be discussed at home. No matter what, we have to bring mom out. Talk about it outside, like today. If we bring it up in front of dad and Muma, I'm afraid he and dad will clash directly. then there'll be no way to fix it. Miyuyi walked over, trying to put an arm around Mutang-kun. He shook her off forcefully. How do I tell mom? He sighed softly. Her husband of over 20 years of love had kept a mistress for 20 years outside. Could she handle it? I'm worried about her health, Miyulu said through gritted teeth. We have to tell mom about this. And it has to be before Muma's coming-of-age banquet. We need to tell her then. Mutang-kun poured herself a glass of wine. She picked it up and drank it sip by sip. Standing cold-faced to one side, she said nothing. Miyuyi got up, went to the bathroom, and wet a towel. She brought it out and handed it to her. Here, take it. Either don't go home tonight, just stay here. Mutang-kun took the towel and pressed it to her face. She didn't say a word. Miyuyi turned and walked over. She picked up the paternity report and put it aside. Mom is still handling Muma's coming-of-age banquet, but I know the invitations haven't been sent out yet. There should still be time. Otherwise, let's do it today. Big sis, go home now and bring mom over here. Mutang-kun let out a scoff. Miyulu thought it over and said, all right, I'll go pick up mom. You book another suite. Mom probably won't be going back home tonight. If we're going to do this, we have to be prepared. No matter what, the one hurt the most in this is mom. Soon, Miyulu brought over Li Huwan, who had been preparing for Muma's banquet. Room 601. The moment Miyulu walked in with Li Huwan, Mutang-kun immediately spoke to Li Huwan. After Mutang-kun opened the door and saw Li Huwan, she immediately said, Mom, don't believe them. Miyulu flew into a rage. She hissed at Mutang-kun. If you keep talking nonsense, I'll slap you right in front of mom. Believe me. Confused, Li Huwan looked from one to the other. Frowning, she asked, what are you two talking about? Since I'm already here, let's go inside and talk. She stepped into the room first. Mutang-kun glared at Miyulu without a word. Huffing angrily, she walked back into the room. Miyulu closed the door properly. Only then did she walk in. Li Huwan put down her bag. She looked at the red wine and glasses on the coffee table, and the cigarette butts in the ashtray. She immediately grew a bit displeased. Clean up this coffee table. What a mess it is. She leaned back on the sofa, looking at Miyulu, who came over silently to clear the ashtray. But then she watched her eldest daughter bring over a wine glass. She even poured her a glass and set it in front of her. Lulu, what exactly is going on? Mutang-kun let out a cold laugh. She sat down across from her mother, Li Huwan. Without a word, Miyulu didn't answer her mother's question. She looked at Mutang-kun and asked, where's your second sister? Mutang-kun turned her head away, ignoring her. Her face was full of defiance. Just then, the sound of a flushing toilet came from the bathroom. Miyuyi came out after washing her hands. Seeing Li Huwan already seated on the sofa, she turned around. She took out the paternity report she had put away. She didn't hand it directly to Li Huwan. Instead, she passed it to Miyulu. The atmosphere in the room grew tense. No one spoke. Miyulu felt her mouth go dry. Mutang-kun had an indifferent attitude, and Miyuyi just waited quietly. Li Huwan's expression turned serious. She didn't know what was in her eldest daughter's hands, but clearly, it had something to do with her. Although she basically didn't manage anything at home, spending most of her time outside, shopping with other wealthy ladies, and getting beauty treatments. When it came to household matters, she was the one who had the final say. What is it that can't be discussed at home? Why did you trick me into coming to a hotel? Is it related to me? Li Huwan knew this matter was definitely not small. His voice trembled slightly. Mom, after Miyulu glanced at Miyuye, she spoke up. Do you remember the day brother Mu left home? The words he said. Li Huwan quickly recalled and shook her head. Don't need to go through so many details. Just tell me directly what it is. The struggle on Miyulu's face was very obvious. He shook his head and said, Mom, I'd better tell you the whole story from start to finish. I arranged for someone to tell father. From when Mujie told us until now, father stayed overnight there once, and visited 3 times. If we hadn't seen Muma going there to verify what brother Mu said, we secretly took strands of Muma's and father's hair, and did a paternity test. His eyes turned red, and his voice carried a hint of choking. Miyuye sat beside Li Huwan, holding her mother's arm, afraid she couldn't handle it. Li Huwan's face grew paler, and her body began to tremble slightly. Second sister found 3 different agencies to do the tests, but the results were all the same. Miyulu looked at her mother, who seemed about to collapse, gritted her teeth, and continued, Muma is father's biological son. We just don't know yet whether Muma herself is aware of this. Mom, Miyuye kept softly calling Mom, afraid she might fall. Li Huwan, pale-faced, stared fixedly at the test report Miyulu handed over. Her hands weren't shaking very violently, but the frequency was high. She simply couldn't believe this was true. But now all 3 daughters were together, and the reports were laid out. Even if it weren't true, it was now. Mutang-chun also walked over with concern, sitting down next to her mother. She held her other arm. Her eyes glared fiercely at her eldest sister, expressing her inner dissatisfaction. But with her mother in this state, it wasn't the time for her to speak recklessly. And her eldest sister in this state, she dared not provoke. She was sure that if she spoke carelessly, she wouldn't get to slaps, but at least one was unavoidable. She could only carefully observe her mother's expression. Li Huwan looked at the first report, her eyes fixed on that red stamp for a full 2 seconds. Then she tore off the first page and looked at the second. Her tears had already begun to fall silently, dripping onto the report. Miyue raised her left hand to cover her mouth, silently crying along without a sound. After reading everything, Li Huiwen sniffled, put the report on the coffee table, and wiped her tears. Then she gently patted her two daughters beside her. Let go. Let mom rest for a while. I'll sleep here for a bit. Don't disturb me. Miyulu's tears fell. She looked at her mother. Li Huiwen stood up shakily, and under Mu Tangshan's support, walked toward the bedroom. Miyue bent down, picked up the report that had fallen on the carpet, stood up, walked aside, and placed it on the table. She turned around and hugged Miyulu. She rested her chin on her eldest sister's shoulder. Soon, tears soaked Miyulu's shoulder. Almost at the same time, she felt a warmth on her own shoulder. That was her eldest sister's tears wetting her clothes. Mu Tangshan helped her mother into the bedroom, silently lifted the bedsheet, and helped her mother sit down. She bent down to take off Li Huiwen's shoes, and helped her lie down. After Li Huiwen lay down, she turned sideways, her back to her. Mu Tangshan covered her with the blanket, then left the bedroom without a word, gently closing the door. Before her, her eldest and second sisters were embracing each other, both crying, but they were suppressing their sobs, afraid of disturbing their mother lying in the bedroom. Mu Tangshan wiped her eyes and was about to speak up to scold. Then I heard a stifled sob coming from the bedroom behind me, a heart-wrenching sound. It was the first time those sisters had ever heard such a sorrowful cry. Usually, when Li Huiwen was home, she only cried occasionally. After Muj came back, lately, a few times, it was all because of Muj and Muma. But this time, the mother in the bedroom was crying for herself. Perhaps this was the first time she had ever cried for herself. Mu Tangshan shut his mouth, walked silently to the sofa and roughly wiped his tears. He picked up the bottle, didn't bother with the glass, and took several gulps straight from it. Seeing his two sisters still hugging each other, the anger in his heart was hard to contain. He stood up and walked over to them, gritting his teeth and muttering, "What are you crying for? Are you satisfied now? Is this what you wanted?" His voice wasn't loud, but they both heard him clearly. Muyulu let go of her younger sister, and turned a tear-streaked face toward him. "Do you think I wanted this? Mom is even more upset than we are. But did you want us to bring this up? At Muma's coming-of-age party, the house would be full of guests. Do you want the Mu family to lose all face?" Muyue grabbed some tissues and handed them out. "Now is not the time to argue. Tangshan, don't blame me. Blame our dad." Mu Tangshan snorted, but only ended up blowing his nose. He went back to the sofa and plopped down. Muyulu followed and sat down too, also taking a couple of swigs from the bottle and wiping her mouth. Only Muyue wasn't drinking. Instead, she went over to the tea table, pulled out a chair, and started boiling water to warm the cups. Now that mom knows, unless she can get through it herself, no one can help her. Whatever mom decides now, there are still two things I need to tell you. Mu Tangshan picked up the bottle and poured himself a glass. "What else could you have missed? I think you're just looking for trouble. Going on like this for no reason. This family will fall apart." Muyula didn't say a word. After wiping her tears, she sat on the sofa and started thinking. Their mother would surely make a decision after her grief. When Muma came into the family, he was already in elementary school. He remembered a lot of things quite clearly. Muma wasn't adopted from an orphanage by their parents. Their father brought him home. Their father said he was from an orphanage, and the paperwork was all done. Whether there really was paperwork, their mother probably knew. But as a kid in elementary school, she didn't understand anything. She only knew she had a new little brother. No matter what their mother chose, she would undoubtedly support her. The question was how to express that support. Muyue, sitting a few meters away, spoke up. "First, does Muma know he's an illegitimate child? That's the most important thing. If he's known all along, then I absolutely won't agree to him staying in the Mu family. If he doesn't know, I don't mind him staying. Too bad I don't have any proof of that." Mu Tangshan glanced at the bedroom door, then irritably downed his glass in one gulp. "You mean Muma knows he's an illegitimate child? And he's been hiding the fact that he knows his true origins?" Miyue shook her head. "I have no proof." Muyulu sniffled. "Don't rush. Once mom brings this up at home, whether he knows or not, it won't make much difference. He can't stay in the family anymore. Dad will definitely send him abroad." Miyue interjected. "No wonder Dad was talking about that a couple of days ago. He might have planned it all along." Mu Tangshan glanced at her. "Does knowing or not knowing make a big difference? An illegitimate child still has inheritance rights. That's what the law says. I don't see any difference." Miyuyi raised her voice slightly and asked Mu Tangshan, "Are you out of your mind? Muma is an illegitimate child. His mother lives in the villa our dad gave her. Even if I don't have proof yet, I can still say, he definitely knows his own background. He's just Dad's tool to inherit the Lee family assets. Are you really clueless or just pretending? Our mom was the one properly married in. If you still support Muma, then what about Muje? Muje is your real brother, Di Cheng. He's the rightful first in line to inherit the Mu family successor." Mu Tangshan turned his head to look at her but didn't answer. Miyulu sighed and said, "Yuyi, you mentioned two things just now. What's the second thing?" Miyuyi picked up her cup. "The second thing is, how to make Muje rightfully return to the Mu family." She said it very casually, but those words were like a heavy gong ringing in Mu Tangkun's ears, blasting him until he was dizzy. Then he suddenly sat up straight. What? Let that ill-mannered one come back. Miyulu lowered her voice and scolded Mu Tangkun. Don't just spout nonsense. Up until now, apart from that one night, has Mujay ever done anything truly ill-mannered? If you have no proof, shut up. Mu Tangkun was unhappy too. He immediately retorted, you have the nerve to talk about me. Look at yourselves first. I'm just rejecting him. What about you? You're at least my siblings. Don't think you're so pure. Before they could speak, he let out a cold laugh, with a hint of disdain, and said, I never said that I like or accept him. I don't even deign to talk to him. Miyulu closed her eyes, opened them and turned to Miyuyi, asked, do you have any way? Number. Miyuyi shook her head. Besides asking for his forgiveness, he also has to be willing to forgive us, and be willing to come back. Otherwise, there's no other way. Miyulu nodded thoughtfully. Miyuyi continued, I don't have to go to work. I'll stay here with mom. You all have to go to work. So who's going to keep an eye on Muma? No matter what, we have to figure out whether he knows who his parents are. This matter. Miyulu added, if he doesn't know, it's fine. But if he does know, I definitely won't let him covet the Mu family's assets. He'll have to see if I agree or not. A bastard son of a bitch dares to add the family fortune. I'd like to see what dad will do. By then, the Lee family in the capital won't agree either. Miyuyi suddenly blurted out, what if Mujay is gone? Wouldn't Muma be the heir then? Miyulu frowned, you mean, once this matter is exposed, Mujay will be in danger. Miyuyi shook her head again, with a worried look, I don't know. Mu Tangkun and Miyulu were both unsettled. Laws and regulations are one thing, but the family rules of a wealthy clan are what they must follow. This is a common flaw of great families, and a tradition passed down. Who dares to break it? Then Miyuyi called out, all right, stop drinking, come have some tea. The three of them sat around the tea table, silently drinking tea. Mu Tangkun's distracted look made Miyulu very dissatisfied, but he was also worried that Mu Tangkun would go back and tell Muma about this. He feared Mu Tangkun would alert the enemy by accident. Right now, to protect the Mu family's face, the only way is to have Muma quietly go abroad to study, preferably never come back, no matter how much money that Fushubao took from father. None of that matters. Ideally, they should go abroad too. Just give the Mu family some money to get rid of them. But the problem is, when Brother Mu left, how do we deal with that resolute attitude? He really wanted to slap himself dozens of times, and have a good cry. Now, getting Brother Mu back to the Mu family is almost impossible, whether it's about money or not. At least, Brother Mu is definitely going to the capital for college now, and Muma's father's plan was always for him to study abroad. They won't have many chances to meet in the future, but who can guarantee that Brother Mu won't have an accident? If Muma already knew about his background, then this usually obedient-looking, well-behaved younger brother has been deliberately deceiving their whole family all along, and as the eldest sister, including their mother Li Huiwan, they are both victims, and also his accomplices and cover. This Muma is truly terrifying. I wonder who taught him to think like that. Really, he doesn't seem like a high school student under 18. At that moment, Mu Tangchun suddenly spoke up. If Muma doesn't know, will Brother Mu still be in danger? Miyuye was stunned for a moment, then spoke nervously. It's very likely nothing will happen, but no one can say for sure about things that haven't happened. Miyulu played with the teacup in her hand and said, once mom brings this up, I'll go talk to him. Mu Tangchun raised an eyebrow and asked, talk to him about what? You don't actually want him to come back, do you? Miyulu lowered her eyes, why not? He is the rightful son of the Mu family. It was always his. Giving it back to him is only natural, isn't it? Isn't he your own brother, born of the same mother? Mu Tangchun frowned, clearly not liking that statement. Miyue looked at the expression on Mu Tangchun's face, and shook her head slightly. Miyulu downed the tea in her cup. Third sister, don't get involved in this. I told you because you deserve to know. Otherwise, I wouldn't have called you here at all. And I'm formally telling you, you are not allowed to leak any information to Muma. If you dare, just see how I deal with you. Mu Tangchun snorted, but didn't say anything else. Miyue silently refilled their tea. The room fell into a brief silence. The sound of crying from the bedroom had stopped, but none of them went in to comfort their mother. Officer, by now you've been standing guard all day. You're not exactly tired, just drenched in sweat from the heat. As soon as you get home, the first thing you do is take a shower. Just after you finish showering and change clothes, Xin Yao comes home from school. School's out. Yeah? It's so hot, bro. Did you just take a shower? Xin Yao asked while changing her shoes. I've been out in the sun all day. I'm about to die from the heat. I'm covered in sweat, sticky and gross. How could I not shower? You walk over to the dining table, pick up the pitcher of cold boiled water, and pour yourself a glass. Xin Yao puts her backpack back in her room. I need to shower too. It's so hot. You take a sip from your glass and ask, aren't your final exams coming up soon? Soon, but it's fine. I'll definitely be in the top 5 of our class. Xin Yao says, as she grabs her change of clothes and heads into the bathroom. You go back to the sofa and sit down. Pick up your phone, and start scrolling through videos. Right now, aside from learning to drive, you have nothing to do. You don't want to go to any class reunions at all. But Xinjiang and Guru both advise you that it's best to keep in touch with your classmates, After all, you spent 3 years of high school together, and there might be chances to work with them in the future. Even though you've already decided you won't stay in Jiang City, the concern from your elders still makes it hard for you to refuse outright. Besides, Fatty, you don't want to contact anyone else. You know that very well in your own heart. Right now, a class reunion is not the issue at all. What you need to consider is whether Woodhorse has already started plotting to kill you. In the previous life, after the coming-of-age banquet, you were invited out to dinner by Woodhorse, who said he wanted to have a serious talk with you before going abroad, about you taking care of the family back home. But what happened? On the way, you were drugged and thrown into a car. You even suspect that in the warehouse, the reason you bled to death was also deliberately arranged by Woodhorse. His goal was to kill you, whether or not you could inherit the Wood family estate, or even if you ended up entangled with Nestle, Woodhorse would find a way to kill you as soon as possible. The only difference from the previous life is that this time, you left the Wood family. Even though you were kicked out, at least you've severed ties. But even so, it doesn't guarantee that Woodhorse will let you off. That guy probably won't forget the grudge of being beaten into the hospital by you. Thinking back to the previous life, after Woodhorse really returned, he indeed moved directly into the Wood family estate with Deputy Secretary Bao, made his identity public, and toward Li Huiwen and the several sisters, he appeared very respectful on the surface, but in reality, he used all sorts of tactics to suppress them behind the scenes. Li Huiwen, heartbroken, eventually committed suicide. The 4 sisters, even more so, were married off by him in the name of the family head. After gaining the appreciation of the Li family in the capital, to various major families in the capital, not only were they driven away, but through these marriages, he brought himself even more benefits. The only one who escaped this fate was Bath Lotion, because Bath Lotion and Kubeibai were homosexuals. Forced to come out as gay, Bath Lotion then disappeared from public view. You naturally know these secrets, but what you know even more clearly is that if it's revealed that you, this flute player, are still alive, and that Woodhorse is a bastard child, this explosive news, then for Woodhorse to get Jiangcheng, the identity of the Wood family heir, would be an extremely difficult task, and if you also perform excellently, then Woodhorse would have no hope at all. Although Jiangcheng, built by shepherd's rights, is impressive for the Mu family in Jiangcheng, in the capital, it doesn't even rank in the 3rd tier. It's just the Li family's southern foothold. When it must be abandoned, then it will be abandoned. Back then, the Mu family and Li family's investment had already made a lot of profit over the years. They couldn't lose face for the Li family of the capital. That's the key point. So now, you not only have to worry about whether you'll be kidnapped again, but more importantly, whether Bath Liquid and Bath Lotion have already started their actions, and how far they've gotten. You know very well that you're using them, but you don't care. The lottery ticket thing has already proven that the history of this life will follow the same path as the previous life. You haven't brought any butterfly effect to this world. What happened before has all happened just like in the previous life. You're not sure if only things related to you will change. At least for now, they haven't. What you fear most is that things related to you will change, because then you'd have no advantage. This feeling of knowing you might have an advantage, yet being a bit afraid, is very strange. What you can do is avoid contact with Woodhorse, or watch him die with your own eyes. Otherwise, sooner or later, it will bring you a deadly fire. The root cause is that you are the legitimate first heir of the Wood family in Jiangcheng. Perhaps there are other vague reasons. Maybe you should just take the initiative and kill that guy. But you were lost in thought for a while, until Qin Yao came out of the bathroom, and you snapped back to reality. The little girl is 1.66 meters tall. In Jiangcheng, she's not considered short. You could even say she's slightly tall, but she probably keep growing. After all, Shenzhen is from the north. Guro is the local, so the girl will still grow. Watching her slender figure, you suddenly laugh out loud. Qin Yao is tilting her head, drying her hair. Hearing your laugh, she looks up. Her big eyes are full of questions. Brother, what are you laughing at? You quickly explain. I was just thinking, you're still so short now. What will you do later? She immediately protests. I'll still grow. I definitely will. Our dad is from the north. My height takes after him. The girl pouts, looking unhappy. Besides, I'm not even that short now. She looks down at herself. Suddenly, her face turns red. She spins around and runs back to her room. Oh no, I'm not wearing underwear. Oh my god, did Brother Mu see everything? Ah, this is so embarrassing. The little girl's ears are red. She just feels her face burning. You never even thought about it. You have no idea why she ran back. Your mind didn't go there at all. Seeing Qin Yao go back to her room, you check the time. Then you call out, do you want to eat at mom and dad's place? Or go out with me? Qin Yao has just taken off her clothes. She's putting on her underwear. Hearing this, she shouts, can we order takeout? I want iced milk tea too. Brother, will you treat me, please? You shout back, no way. Eating takeout all the time is bad for your health. Milk tea doesn't even have real milk in it. That's no good either. Drink less milk tea from now on. I'll check the kitchen. If there's nothing, I'll cook you some noodles. Qin Yao doesn't say a word. She quickly gets dressed, opens the door, and runs out. Brother, how about treating me to some barbecue? I won't drink milk tea. Can I have cola instead? If not, then sour plum juice. She stands beside you, looking up at you. Like a silly deer, her big, wet eyes are fixed on you, unblinking. Her face is full of longing. Your heart softens. You reach out and ruffle her hair for a while. All right, barbecue it is. Chin Yao doesn't cheer. Her freshly washed hair is now a mess. Like a bird's nest, brother. Wait a sec. I'll comb my hair, then we'll go, okay? No rush. Mom and Dad won't be back until after 8. Take your time. I'll throw the clothes in the washing machine. Chin Yao rushes into the bathroom. No. They need to be washed separately. I'll wash mine first. You can wash yours after we get back from barbecue. You smile. You sit on the sofa and wait for her to fuss around. This is what home feels like. Even though you're not related by blood, this really is home. Just like it was before you left 4 years ago. Your sister has really grown up a lot. When you left, the little girl hadn't even finished elementary school. She was short and chubby. Now she's starting to look like a young woman. You pull out your phone and call your dad. The call connects quickly. Dad, I don't want to cook. I'm taking Yao Yao out for barbecue. Let mom know. Okay. Don't worry. We'll be back in at most an hour. Shin Jung is busy and just agrees. Alright, eating out is fine. Don't stay out too late. Yao Yao still has homework to do. Final exams are coming up soon. You should also help keep an eye on her studies. Okay, I know. Don't worry. After a while, Chin Yao is ready. She's wearing denim shorts and a white round neck t-shirt with a little bear on it. She's only carrying her phone, nothing else. She picks a pair of canvas shoes to put on. She looks full of youthful energy. Plus, her skin is fair and smooth. She really is a little beauty. The two of them left the neighborhood and walked for over 10 minutes. It was less than a kilometer or so. They arrived at the snack street. Although it was just past 7 o'clock, there were already quite a few people here, starting to eat and drink. You let the girl order her own food. You just paid the bill, didn't bother with anything else. Soon the food came, and you'd only eaten for a little while. The phone you had stuffed in your pants pocket started vibrating. You took out your phone and looked. It was Miyuyi calling. You glanced at it and immediately hung up. Had no intention of answering at all. You just thought Miyuyi really had some nerve. Less than 5 seconds after hanging up, you just put the phone back. It started vibrating again. Chin Yao was very smart and sensible. Seeing your move, she knew you didn't want to answer the call. Not that you were too embarrassed to answer in front of her. After you hung up 3 times in a row, she finally couldn't help it. Bro, if it's the same person calling, then there might really be something urgent. You should probably answer it. You saw the concern in her eyes. So you nodded. If it rings again, I'll answer. As soon as the words left your mouth, the phone started vibrating again. You sighed, glanced at Chin Yao sitting across from you. Chin Yao's eyes curved into 2 crescent moons smiling at you. You said quietly, I'll step outside to take the call. You stay here and don't go anywhere. Got it. Seeing Chin Yao nod, you finally answered the call and said, hold on a second. I'll take it outside. Walking out of the barbecue place, you answered the phone impatiently. As soon as the call connected, on the other end came Yu Yi's voice, tinged with a sobbing tone. Bro Moo, can you come over? Mom has fallen ill.